How we doing, everybody, and welcome into Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. I'm your host, Trage. We're coming back on this Friday night, December 20th, getting close to Christmas already. I wore my Home Alone Wet Bandits t-shirt tonight here to get into the festive spirit here tonight. I mean, we had to get excited for Christmas, right? We're that much closer. Right now we're watching college football playoff. Indiana and Notre Dame squaring off right now. So I got my guy back here today. Aaron is back. Aaron, how you been doing? I mean, it's been a while since you've been back on the show.
I hate missing shows. Like, you wouldn't believe how much I it's like something's missing from my life. It's that crucial to me. It really is. Like, no, all jokes aside. So I'm happy to be back. I'm glad you welcomed me with open arms. Like, I never left, and I'm excited. I mean, obviously, having my team in the college football play, it makes it more exciting. I mean, a little nervous still, but I'm trying to feel this whole college football playoff out as a whole too. Like, not just the whole Penn State thing. Like, it's just, is it a nice format? Like, I mean, it's cool, the Friday night game, to get it started. I like how they did that. I think that's not just load up an entire Saturday. Get a Friday night kickoff, and Notre Dame, like, that place looks like it's rocking tonight. So it's a good way to start the sports weekend, I think.
A great way to start off the weekend here. A lot of football tonight here. Tomorrow we're going to have football, and then we have the NFL on Sunday. Packers play on Monday. It is a full boat of a weekend right there. So we want to get into it all today on the show. I want to talk a little Badgers, transfer portal, what we're seeing right there, college football playoff, everything in between. I saw, when we're coming in today, I was looking on my laptop over here, and I was just perusing around. I looked up Brewers, what's going on with the Brewers, and somebody did the Brewers top 10 contracts in franchise history. I just saw it was back in November 6th of 2022, but I mean, it still rings true. I was looking through some of the contracts that they've had over the years, and if you had to guess, who has the biggest contract in Brewers history? Who would you guess?
I think to me, it's one of their not modern day players, but players that we grew up watching, right? So I'm thinking it's either Ryan Braun or CC. I think CC got a deal before he went to the Yankees. I think the Brewers had him for enough years where it wasn't like a deal from the Indians.
They wanted to get a deal with him. They never got the deal done because of the players union. The players union told them, you got to take more money so you get over to the Yankees because they're offering more than what the Brewers are. He wanted to come back to Milwaukee.
That is a shame, though.
The players union sucks.
Baseball in a nutshell, though. That's such a baseball thing. I'll go Ryan Braun, though. I think he's up there, at least in the top 5, top 3.
Ryan Braun is number 2 on the list.
Oh,
5 years, $105 million. That was on top of the contract he signed before that. So Christian Yelich is the number 1 contract on that list, but $215 million over 9 years. Just put that into perspective across the league. I mean, we just saw the Juan Soto deal. We look at the Shohei Ohtani deal. You even have Mike Trout, Bryce Harper, Manny Machado, those kinds of deals in there. And the Brewers don't even touch it. Like, this was a guy at the time who was coming off of an MVP, could have potentially won the MVP the next season if he would not have broke his kneecap at the end of that season. Probably would have been destined for another one. And this is what we get. I mean, it's just, that's baseball. That's baseball in a nutshell. The small market teams, the Brewers, everybody else, they're kind of just, you get these guys. You get to sign one guy, right? You get to pick your guy. Christian Yelich, Ryan Braun. Hopefully they're loyal to you. They want to stay with you. Outside of that, you really just got to deal with the dumpster fires. I mean, we got Bruce Zimmerman. He played for the Orioles, pitcher for the Orioles, I guess, last season there. Brewers got him, but you look at his ERA from last year. Yeah, he gets a lot of, you read the bio. Guy gets a lot of ground balls. He's got some swing and miss stuff, but he's really nothing. He's not perfect. The Brewers got to fix him. We have to hope we can fix him, right? Nestor Cortez. It's, if you get the good side of Nestor, if the Brewers can fix Nestor, wow, they found a great veteran pitcher for in that rotation. But it's not a proven guy. You cannot, I mean, it's what sucks. And I think the Juan Soto deal, when that happened, I was like, this is what's ruining baseball. Like, you want to get more eyeballs in the game, spread the talent around. Why would you, as a White Sox fan, I mean, really feel enthusiastic about baseball, right? The Brewer fans, they have a reason. I mean, the Brewers, they put together every single season, they find guys, right? They find guys, they put it together, they make it work, right? The White Sox, though, what do you have to be enthusiastic about? I mean, you can't afford anybody. You can't afford to stay in this kind of mess. The Oakland A's, before, I mean, yes, they could have spent more money than what they were, but I mean, the Oakland A's, you can't afford to pay around with the big dogs there. You're not even the best team in your state. So what are you going to do? You can't afford.
And yeah, and like look at the Pirates. Like they have Paul Skeens, and it's like they're still irrelevant. Like they make a great draft. The Pirates are like the poor man's Brewers to me because they draft well. It seems like they can develop some talent. I mean, look how many pitchers have come out of the Pirates organization and go into other teams, but they have and they have a beautiful ball. You know, people say it's one of the best ballparks in MLB, and what are their fans like? Every year that's opening day, their fans will show up, and then 2 months into the season, they know it's here we go again. It's just you're so right. It's a broken system. Like it's not a level playing field whatsoever. You know, you gotta have a tremendously well run organization like the Brewers to even be competitive. If you are a small market, I mean, you're seeing Baltimore become a better organization now. Where do they go with spending money? Like, do they still sit in the middle of the pack? Well, then, you expect them to maybe make the wild card, and that's about it. Like, like you said, it's the have and have nots, and like that Soto deal compared to like a Yelich deal is like, I mean, the Brewers are paying pennies. Like, it really is. I mean, obviously he's the highest paid, but still, I mean, it's the disparity of it.
And look at the numbers that Christian Yelich was putting up when he got that contract. I mean, you could put them in comparison to Juan Soto. I'm not saying that he's as good as Juan Soto now, but at that time, Christian Yelich is a good outfielder. He's a Gold Glove outfielder. He might not have the best arm in the world, but he's a Gold Glove outfielder. Juan Soto can't say that. He's got the bat, but when Christian Yelich was feeling it in those MVP seasons, he had the bat. So you look at that contract compared to what Juan Soto got, you're getting a half-trick pony for what you got for Christian Yelich if you're the Brewers. And it's just, you mentioned the Pirates there. And that's one of the things, too. Paul Skeens, when he comes up for his next contract, are the Pirates going to be, unless if he's a loyal dude who's like, I'm going to turn down all the money in the world to stay here. I mean, the Yankees, the Mets, the Dodgers, they're all going to come calling. And what's going to happen? We're going to see him go away, right? And, you just have these teams that are the small markets. They build these guys, right? Paul Skeens, Corbin Burns, they build these guys up. And then all of a sudden the big dogs come in. They're like, hey, thanks for building them up. We're going to take them from you now. And that's where I wanted to tie this in. I wanted to tie this in at the end of this year. I want to tie it into college football now, too, because that's what we're seeing in college football. It's the Wild West. It's even worse, right? College football is even worse for the transfer portal. It's the Wild West, and it's about money at this point. There's no loyalty. There isn't. There is no loyalty in college football anymore. You go to a college, and if it's a small college, you go to that small college. You play well. And it's happened in the past. You move up to a bigger university. I get that. But now it's worse. Now it is 1,000 times worse. Because now not only do you have to recruit your recruits, you have to recruit transfer portal guys. And even when they commit to you, you still have to recruit them. They're in your system already, and you're still recruiting those guys. How are you supposed to manage that? I mean, honestly, how are you supposed to manage that as a college football coach? So when they tell me Bill Belichick can't do it with New England, guess what? If anybody can do it, it's Bill, because he's done it for years with the New England Patriots. He's worked with contracts. He's worked with guys under contract. I mean, there's no contracts yet, but he's worked with money before. He gets it. So, I mean, Aaron, I wanted to bring the college football transfer portal up. I want to talk about Badgers a little bit here, but I want to talk about, so you're a big Penn State guy, Aaron is there, and James Franklin spoke out about the transfer portal because of Bo Perbula going into it.
That is a tough one. Yeah,
that is a tough last name. And I'm glad, the Badgers, they got Billy Edwards Jr. Maybe they won't get Bo now, and I'm glad because I don't have to say his name 14 times fast there. But I mean, so James Franklin spoke out, and I wanted to hear your thoughts. I mean, oops, shoot, muted my mic there for a second. You probably heard the his press conference there and everything. What were your thoughts? What were your thoughts on what he had to say? I don't like James Franklin, but I don't necessarily disagree with anything that he was stating there because it is a broken system.
He's almost becoming the guy, and I'm not going to lie to you, James Franklin, he sometimes complains to complain. Like the guy, he's complained about how State College is there because long story short, the town I live in is very, very small. It's a farm town, this and that. State College is basically a very small farm town with a university plucked right in the middle of it. Like, it wasn't set up to be this. So he complains about the airport in State College being small because, like, they'll have to go down to Harrisburg, which is like over 2 hour drive, which I get that. I mean, you would think they would figure that out by now, but like for him to complain to the media about that is kind of stupid. Like, just complain to the university. And then if it gets done, it gets done. I don't know. But in this, like you said, I'm not even the biggest Franklin fan. I mean, certain things really tick me off about him. But he's become kind of the guy that will say what other people I think are thinking at this point. Like, he's starting to do that a little bit in certain situations. Like after the Oregon game, he was like, why is this press conference kind of like we can hear Oregon's band right out there? Like, we can't even hear ourselves talk. And like, it's just – but he was complaining about that. Now it's, the quote goes, "The overlapping college football playoff and transfer portal timeline has forced me into an impossible decision over, and this is basically in reference to the Pabula situation and with Drew Allar. So that really speaks to the timeline of it. And then Franklin goes on to say, number one, I hate it most importantly for Bo. I don't think it's the best interest of the student athlete. I don't think it's in the best interest of college football. He said, Pabula has been a phenomenal teammate, a big reason why we are where we are. That's not so much important. He's kind of just, banging the drum on the fact the timing of it is really bad too. That's kind of where I do agree with Franklin and lockstep there is like now you're having like right before the college football playoffs start, you're having a kid leave. God forbid we need him in the college football playoff. That would suck. I mean, I'm not saying that, it's not his right to do it. Like, I'm not mad at him. It's his choice. If he goes on to play at wherever and does well and he gets to the NFL and gets a paycheck out of it, it was worth it. Or even just the chance to play for a season where Drew Allar is coming back and he's not. But like Franklin said, the timing of it is so missing. Like, this should be after all the college football playoff is over. They should have like a quote unquote free agency period, I guess you could call it. That type of thing. Like, it's not, but it is, and like you said, you said it perfectly. It's the wild, wild west. There's no regulation to it. Like, it's just, they're going to have to do something. I'm surprised they haven't yet. I mean, I really am, but I hate that saying, but it is what it is. It's like, we're in it now. So what changes do we make to it to make it better? We could probably come up with some, but it sucks. And it sucks for a school like Penn State. God forbid, like I said, if you need quarterback is very important. If you need that backup guy, now you're going to, I don't even know who's behind him. Somebody that's not even, talked about at this point. So he's probably super young, sophomore or something like that. So the timing, getting back to the whole thing, the timing of it's the worst. We could, I'd like to hear your input on like the transfer portal as a whole, but the timing sucks.
Well, the timing's terrible. I mean, what is it? It's December 9th. It opens up there. December 9th and closes on December 28th. So that's not saying that as of December 28th, you have to be on a team. You can still be in the transfer portal. Teams can still get guys after December 28th, but you have to decide by that date, which that is terrible. I hate that. I hate that because not only for the Penn State situation, but we look at, okay, I didn't want Wisconsin to go into this bowl game, but I believe Marshall dropped out of their bowl game because they had a boatload of transfers at that point. And then they're like, okay, we got to find another team to go play. I don't remember if it was against Army or who the heck that bowl game was against there, but they were trying to figure out, okay, who's going to go play them now? Because Marshall drops out. And they're like, oh, well, we're going to call up some of them 5-win teams to see what they can do. And Luke Fickell said after the season, he's like, well, we're going to try and play. If we get into a bowl game or they invite us, we're going to go play in it. We want to get as much reps and everything as we can do. But then it came down to the point of the Badgers have had 20-plus transfers going out of Madison. So now you're trying to field. You would have had, going into that game, you would have had two quarterbacks on the roster, one quarterback on the roster, I believe. Mabry, I believe, was probably the only one left at that point. So you would have had only one quarterback left out of everybody. You would have lost basically your whole cornerback room is gone at this point. I believe out of all their corners, they have 3 back. So you'd had 3 corners left. I mean, you go through it, you're like, I have nobody left. So now it affects bowl season because now you're looking around, you're like, okay, who has a roster that's still left? And that's who's going to get invited this bowl game there. But I mean, yeah, you talked about with Penn State there. You lose your backup quarterback. I mean, I was impressed by Bo in that Wisconsin game. He came in and, I mean, he didn't light the world on fire. Don't get me wrong. It wasn't like he came in and was like Cardell Jones out there putting 59 points on the Badgers in the Big Ten championship game or anything. But, I mean, he played well, and he did what he had to do. And now Drew Aller, yes, he's coming back next season is what he said, coming back to Penn State there. But what if he gets hurt? Now what do? You go to the third string quarterback, and you're doing that. The NCAA is doing that because they're setting this standard that you have to be in the transfer portal at this date. And maybe Bo is going to transfer the whole time, but now he has to jump in. He has to go into the transfer portal because it's forcing his hand. He almost has to. Otherwise, he has to wait until the spring window, which I believe is April 16th until April 25th. He's got to wait all the way until that point to jump back in there. And then, I mean, who you're going to be, who wants a quarterback now, who needs a quarterback now, probably the big teams probably already grabbed theirs. So you're at that kind of game now. So I think it's set up terrible. I do. You have to have a free agent period. Like you said, it's free agency. You have to have a period. The NFL's got a free agency period. All of them have a free agency period. You got to have it at this point here. You know, we talked about before, and I'll say it again. The NCAA screwed up big time. There was a flood coming. There was a flood. And instead of just cracking the dam to let a little bit of the water out, they just blew it open. They just blew the whole thing open and said, screw it. And that's what we're seeing right now. We are watching the repercussions of that at this point here. And why not go get your money, right? Why not go get your money? You have nothing holding you back. Go get your money. It's 1 year at a time. We're watching guys go boom, 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 boom. Just find your way, right? That's how it's going to work. How do you build a team off of that? How do you build an identity off of that? It's hard. Recruiting doesn't even mean that much anymore, because at this point, if you bring in 20 recruits and you don't play 15 of them, guess what? Those 15 guys probably gone. Unless if they stink, those 15 guys are probably gone. Like, that's just how it works at this point. So it sucks. It really does. And James Franklin, yeah, I've said it before. He loves to freak out all the time. That's just his thing. But was he far off base? I wouldn't say so. I wouldn't really say he was that far off base with what he was saying there.
It's just, yeah, the time, like I keep saying, the timing especially, but I don't know if you're going to make regulations like, you can only have 10 guys hit the portal. Like, I don't know what's the solution, right? Like, what's the finish line to this? But right now they have there's no regulation. It's just, okay, leave. Like, just people leaving. I mean, you saw it with the Badgers this year. There's teams, who is it? USC. Like, people are leaving in droves. Like, it's just like, okay, like, it didn't work. We're going somewhere else. Like, the college was kind of like, I don't want to say it's like the military, but it was like, okay, guys would, you have to kind of, I'm not going to say man up, but you know what I mean? You had to grind through the process.
Yep.
To get to the next. Now it's like, as soon as you're unhappy, like, who was that kid from like UNLV or whatever? He like dipped.
Oh, the quarterback.
Yeah, like 3 weeks in or 5 weeks in or what. It's just,
they promised him X amount of dollars and they didn't deliver, and he was like, "Oh, I'm just gonna leave now."
Yep.
Okay, but yeah, 100%. Like you were saying, that Tom Izzo said the same thing. He said when this whole thing started, he said, "You're not teaching these young guys anything because you're not teaching them how to fail." Once they fail, they're just going to look for the out. And that's what they're doing. That's what a lot of these guys are doing. Oh, it's not working here. It's not working here. Now, this all started because of coaches. Nobody held coaches accountable. Hold them accountable. That's where you should have started. Holding coaches accountable, that if you leave here, you have to wait a year. You can't just jump into another thing unless if you're forced out, your contract's up, anything like that. You can't just leave your contract. You want to fix it, salary cap. That's how you fix it. You put a salary cap on every single team. Yes, some teams are going to be able to meet that salary cap. Some won't be able to meet it. But you cannot expect all these teams to be able to compete with the LSUs, the Alabamas, the Texases, all of them of the world, while trying to keep afloat their other programs at this point. So that's kind of where we're at right now. It is a mess around college football, and it continues to be a mess and will continue to be a mess because the NCAA doesn't care. Like, if we want to be all truthful with what we're watching, they don't care. Their money. That's all it is money. They want their money. This is getting them money. It's getting them eyeballs on teams. They don't care. It's just how it is.
Yeah, and that's the sad truth. Like, this college football playoff is going to drive in so much extra revenue that they haven't had. They're going to stick with that. Then, hey, if if like let's say a superstar running back goes from Wisconsin to Arizona, like now we're talking about like even us talking about that type of stuff. That's what they want. They want the attention. They want, even if people don't like it right now, they're still gonna watch. Like college football, like you would have to fundamentally change the game of football for people not to watch it. Like it's football and America is like peanut butter and jelly. Like it just goes. It just goes like baseball used to be America's pastime. Like it's no arguing it that the NFL is the Goliath, and college is not. It can't be that far behind at this point. Like it's grown, and like you see college game days. Like I mean, that's better than any pregame show the NFL has to offer by tenfold. And it's like you said, man, it is so about the dollar bill, and this is like just. How many more conversations, how many more shows can they talk about now? Oh, this guy went to this school, just the coaching, carousel happens all the time. A guy goes to Penn State to be an offensive coordinator just as a stepping stone to go coach. It's wild, wild west. And I don't know when if it ever, I mean, this might be the way of just the way it is going forward. I don't know.
It's not going to get fixed. It won't. You can't. I mean, how do you go back, right? You went 14 steps forward without taking the first step. Like, how do you go back now? And that's the question that we're all waiting to find the answer, right? We're all waiting to hear the answer, and I don't think we're going to hear it anytime soon. So, I mean, let's look at the college football playoff. Let's get to an exciting part, I guess, to what's going on this weekend. And looking at this college football playoff, so we see Indiana and Notre Dame right now at the half. Notre Dame is up 17-3 on Indiana. That offense, you disrupt that pass game for Indiana. They said it. I believe it was Kurt Singetti said it after the game in Ohio State. He said that the crowd noise is actually what threw them off the most, because he said they couldn't get checks across the line. It was just all a mess on their offensive line, and that led to a lot of problems. And we're kind of seeing it tonight here in South Bend there against Notre Dame, where Rourke is not having a good day. He's not having a good day again. It looks like the Ohio State game all over again. The question is, do they fix it going into the locker room here? What do we think? Does Indiana pull off the comeback here against Notre Dame? It's not like Notre Dame is like burying them by any means. Like this is still a good game. Indiana's defense is holding their truth a little bit there. What do you think? Does Indiana have a shot to come back in this one?
I think they have a shot to make it close at one point, to narrow the, like kind of maybe get it to a 7-point game. I don't see it any closer than that. I nothing against Indiana. But it just feels like, watching that Ohio State game, then watching this game, they just kind of, I don't know how else to put it in a certain way. Like they do look men among boys when they play like the big dog, like a Notre Dame school, like a Ohio State. Like if you put them up against Texas, they don't look as sharp, as crisp. Like they don't look as, like you said, the checks on the offensive side of the ball. Like they look out of sync compared to like an Ohio State team that doesn't really, miss a bounce there. It's just boom, go, 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 go. It just looks like, and I was watching Rourke, like his body language is like, I'm in my head, man. I am overthinking everything. They're not ready. I mean, credit to them. Like they've had a great season. No one expected this. I think it was the most wins they've ever had in one season. And it's Singetti's first year. And he's kind of like, I didn't realize he was as much of a like crap talker as he is.
Oh yeah.
I mean, to each their own. I don't like how he kind of talked crap before going into this game. He didn't talk any crap on Notre Dame, but he was like, whenever we play a top 25 team, like we beat the crap out of them. That's not great to say when you got, ran off the field in Ohio. I don't know. He's great. Like I would take what he can bring to a program. Just that type of stuff. You got to be careful because now, Indiana was like the sweetheart story. And now it's like, if you put a target on Indiana's back, how much can they weather the storm against a team like, a top tier team? I haven't seen it yet. I know it's only 2 games and this one's included. They're just not there yet to me.
Yeah, no, I would agree. 100%. It's when the skill outweighs the effort, basically. And that's kind of what we got in both games there between Indiana, Ohio State, now Indiana against Notre Dame. And it's tough too. You haven't really been I don't want to say battle tested, but you didn't really get your scars before Ohio State, and you didn't really get them outside of Ohio State before Notre Dame there, right? You played a pretty relatively easy Big Ten schedule, which definitely helped there. So we could be talking about it different if they played a gauntlet schedule. So, I mean, this is what we got. So Indiana, we're seeing if they can make this comeback. I want to see them make it interesting. You know, I don't want anything in this first round here between Clemson and Texas, whoever it is. I don't want blowouts. I don't, because that's going to give the Alabama fans and everything else a little bit of wood in that fire where they can start yelling, well, if you wouldn't have put SMU in there and we would have got in, we would have gone to Penn State and only lost by 2 touchdowns. Like, shut up. Just shut up. This is how it works. You lost 3 games. Shut up. Like, sometimes it's the same with when TCU got in. It's the same with all of them. It's like, well, if we would have been in there, like, no, you didn't make it in. Shut up. Like, that's enough. Like, who cares? You lost 3 games. You played a great schedule. You lost 3 games. Guess who you lost the 3 games to? 2 of them were to garbage teams. So guess what? I don't care that you played in the SEC. You lost to Vanderbilt and you lost to Oklahoma, who is absolutely atrocious, and you put up 3 points. Guess what? You sucked. So you can't blame it on anybody but yourself that you didn't get in. If Alabama doesn't lose to Oklahoma, guess what? They're in the college football playoff. No doubt. No doubt. But you sucked. So I hate it. And that's what leads to the 12-team playoff. That's what's going to lead to the 14-team playoff. That's what's going to lead to the 16-team playoff, is because we constantly have to listen to the first team out complaining why we didn't get in. And it's usually the Alabamas of the world or the big schools that are the ones we listen to. And then we try to cater it. And then we try to fix it. And we don't fix it. We just cause bigger problems, right? And we tick off the next team that doesn't make it in. So, you know what? You want to get in, win, right? That's how it goes. Win. Yeah. I hate when they, we should expand the March Madness tournament. We should expand that thing out too. No, shut up. Win your games. You get into the tournament. That's how it works. That's how it works.
People that want to argue that one, I mean, there's 64 teams. Like,
yes,
good
it's
God.
A prestigious tournament that if you get 20 wins on the season, you're in. Like, that's how usually 20-plus win teams are in the NCAA tournament, unless if you win your conference tournament. So guess what? Win your games, you're in the tournament. If you don't win your games and you got 19 or 18 wins on the season and you're almost a 500 team, you might be good. You might think you're good, but guess what? There's another team who had more wins than you, played better than you, won those games, got the key wins and everything like that. So I'm sick of those arguments. I really am. You want to get in, win your games. That's how it works. I don't care if strength of schedule can only take it so far, because if we want to go strength of schedule next season, when the Badgers go through the freaking gauntlet, if they come out with 6 wins, guess what? We should probably put them in the college football playoff, because look at their schedule next season and you tell me where there's a weak point in there. I mean, they got Michigan, they got Ohio State, they got Oregon, they have Alabama on there, they have Indiana on there. That's next year's season is a freaking gauntlet. So we can throw strength of schedule out the window, because a 7-win team should make it in then if Wisconsin walks through that somehow. I mean, it's just, I get strength of schedule. I do. Don't get me wrong. I get it. I really do. But at some point, it can only take you so far. It can only be so much of the story.
And that's why I kind of have a problem with how Kirk Cindetti said that. He was like, because they alluded to the fact that, the two top 25 teams outside of Ohio State he played, they won in like dominating fashion. I think one was at JMU and then one earlier this season, something like that. But he's beaten 2 top 25 teams outside, like I said, disregard the Ohio State one, and they won pretty convincingly. But both those teams were right on the cusp of being in the top 25. And then he goes on to say, well, look, we have the largest point differential. Like, okay, that's great and all. I understand that. That's something you can, pat your chest on and say that. But at the same rate, it's like you played you can argue you can argue like this is a crazy argument to make. I'm not saying Wisconsin was as good as Indiana, but you can say Wisconsin played a top 5 team, and I think Penn State was 4th, and they played them, almost like 3 1/4 quarters, wire to wire. Then they took Oregon, the number 1 team, to the wire, like where Indiana didn't have to play. They played Northwestern, they played Illinois, they played that's where I have a problem with the like. Okay, good for you, Indiana. Like you controlled your own destiny, but like now we're seeing it. Like you're getting blown out. You get blown out by Ohio State. This game probably is a blowout. Barring anything crazy. That's where like strength of schedule does. Like I'm not trying to make it now. Now I sound like I'm making a case for Alabama, but you know what I mean. It's
yes, it has to mean something, but it can't mean everything.
Yes,
essentially, because otherwise you're just penalizing a team like Indiana for only losing one game. Yes, it was the biggest one on their schedule, and they lost it in convincing fashion. But you're penalizing them for playing the schedule they were given at that point. And you'd be penalizing SMU for losing to Clemson in the ACC championship game when SMU would have been an automatic lock otherwise. How do you penalize a team for that? So there has to be stipulations. I just don't think you could take strength of schedule like wire to wire, and that's how it is. Like I get strength of schedule, I do, but there's outside factors that we have to look at. Otherwise, I mean, we're going to be looking at an SEC Big Ten tournament here forever, and no other conference is going to matter. I mean, it's the truth. I mean, no other conference would matter, and then you would look at the ACC and the Big 12, and they'd be like, well, okay, we get one automatic bid. And if we don't go and play outside of conference or load up our non-conference schedule or move to another conference, we're essentially, if we get second place with one loss, we're essentially looked at like hot garbage. So, I mean, you have to walk a fine line with strength of schedule. That's my opinion. You have to walk a fine line with it. I think if there's a final nail that needs to be driven in on each, like this team should get in if they have same record, this team needs to get in over this team. Why? Strength of schedule. They played a tougher schedule. Those two losses came against tougher teams. Okay, that's fine. Alabama's losses did not come against tougher teams. That's where I draw the line at Alabama. Their losses did not come against those great teams out there. Indiana's loss came to a good Ohio State team, which is, I mean, they're in the college football playoff. They're the 8th ranked team, but they were one of the best teams in there. So that's kind of where I'm like, you had to put a team like Indiana, but seeing them get blown out, if they do, which we hope they don't, we want to see a good game here. But if they do, that even drives it further into the past or into the point of, well, it only matters about strength of schedule then. And, same with if we see SMU get blown out or if we see Boise State get completely just dismantled as the 3 seed in this. I think the seeding's dumb. I do. Yeah. I think the seeding's dumb. I think you should take your final. And I said this with football the NFL the other day. I said the same thing. I said you should take your final teams that are going to be in your playoff picture, your 12, and you should rank them 1 through 12, and those are your rankings. That's how it works. Those are your rankings. That is truthfully how it should be, and I don't understand why it's not. It doesn't make sense. I said that with the NFL the other day because I'm sick of seeing the NFC South teams get in there with 8 wins, and they get a home game in the first round of the playoffs, but the Packers could end the season with 13 wins, and they're going to have to go on the road for the entirety of the playoffs and try to get to the Super Bowl. Same with the Vikings, too. If the Vikings, don't win the division, and the Lions do, they could have to go on the road for the entire length of it. And all those teams have 13, or, they wouldn't have 13 because they lose to the Packers. But, I mean, it's weird. It's nuts. It is absolutely nuts that we see. And, this they could have controlled. So hopefully that's an update that they kind of do when they restructure this, because I believe they're going to restructure the playoff probably after this year. Maybe add 2 more teams. We know that's in the works already, is to add more teams. So we'll kind of see what they do there. But Aaron, let's get off the Indiana. We see the second half starting here. We got your game here, SMU Penn State. That's going to be the first game kicking off tomorrow there on TNT. That's weird. That's weird. That's weird to think college football on TNT, but you kind of like it. I mean, it gets across different networks. You get to, I mean, maybe it's cooler on TNT. I don't know. I mean, when they have the NBA or March Madness on there, it's a pretty nice network to watch. So we'll kind of see what happens there. But what are your thoughts? Penn State, SMU.
I mean, I feel pretty decent overall. I mean, 9-point spread coming into it. I mean, I know SMU is a great running attack. Like that's kind of where they pride themselves there. And like, even their, offensively, like passing attack's been pretty good too. I just think Penn State is a more like well-rounded, on both sides of the ball. I think they're a better team. I think they'll take care of the football better. I hope, at least. I hope they take care of the football better. I'm not going to say this is going to be a pushover game, though. I think there'll be times in this game where it's a little nerve-wracking. but I have enough confidence in this Penn State team to get it done in Happy Valley. I mean, it's going to be frigid up there. It's cold where I live. That's like, a little under 3 hours up there north. So it's going to be colder there. SMU being a school from Dallas, basically, I don't know how they'll play in those elements either. I think Penn State wins this. I'm not sure if they cover the spread. That one, it's a little, I go back and forth in my mind. Like if they play lights out, I think they can cover the spread. But if they struggle even in the slightest bit offensively and stuff, I could see it being a little close. But I do think they win. It might be, a little nerve wracking. That's all.
Yeah, I agree. I'm not. I think Penn State's going to win the game, but I'm not. SMU's they've got a real good run game. I think they got a real good run game, and their passing game isn't terrible. I think they can sling it around a little bit. It's if they can expose the secondary of Penn State, which is going to be a lot on the defensive front for Penn State, taking care of their business, winning their matchups, and putting pressure on the quarterback there. Because Wisconsin, I mean, sitting down at that game, I'm watching, and they had opportunities to exploit the secondary for Penn State. They just, Braden Locke and all that kind of stuff there. He kind of just missed guys, and that's what he did. That's why he's gone now, and it's okay. But, I mean, this Penn State, if I had to pick a weakness, I guess, on their defense, it's the back end. It's the back end of that defense. So we'll kind of see. I mean, will SMU be able to take advantage of that? Will they be able to establish the run game? That's going to be huge. If they can establish the front, if they can hold their own up there and keep Carter and keep those guys, the big guys on the line, out of that backfield, give their quarterback some time here, I don't hate SMU to make this thing close. I really don't. I think it's going to be a good game. I think Penn State wins it. I do. I don't know if it's the cover the spread game that, we're thinking of. I think it's going to be close. I really do. I think this could be a very good first round matchup there. And I mean, both of them, I don't want to say Boise State's going to be a pushover. I hate to say that, but if you're Penn State, you have the easiest second game out of anybody. Like, if you win, you get Boise State versus playing. I think Arizona State's a scrappy team, and they have a heck of a running back down there. Not to say that Ashton Genty isn't a great running back, because he's a great running back, but they have a heck of a running back down there too, and a fantastic quarterback. And I mean, Oregon, you miss Georgia. And we see Carson Beck's not playing, so Georgia's that much better. I just don't like Carson Beck, so that's kind of where I'm at.
I'm with you, yeah.
So, I mean, yeah, I like Penn State to move on in that one too. The next game we got, Texas and Clemson. I really do think if there's going to be a blowout, I really do. If there's going to be a blowout on the day, Clemson's sneaky. I don't hate on Klubnik because I think he's a fantastic quarterback. I just don't know if they got the talent. And Texas, their offense scares me. Not in a scary way, like they're going to light me on fire. Like they are if Texas is going to go far, it's defensively. Like that defense for Texas is good. I mean, they got a great defensive front there. They got great guys out there in the secondary. Texas defense will carry them there. If they can control Klubnik, I think it's not even a ball game there. Quinn Ewers and that offense they've kind of stumbled at times there. We saw it against Georgia a little bit. We saw moments where they've stumbled this season. That Georgia game, I thought that they were going to run away with it. Georgia was struggling to move the football. There was nothing good happening for Georgia, and Texas just couldn't find a way. They couldn't find a way to move a football. At times, I was like, why don't we just put Arch Manning in there and just let him run with it? Because, people still have faith in Quinn Ewers, and I still think he's a good quarterback. I'm just not sold on that offense. I think if there's a game where it could turn into a blowout, this would be my one, though. I got Texas winning it. I don't even know what the spread is. Texas by 13 right now. Wow. Yeah, I could definitely see that. I think if there's going to be a blowout, it's going to be that one there.
Yeah, I'm with you 100%. I think Clemson is like obviously not what they used to be as far as like the Trevor Lawrence, Deshaun Watson. Like those teams were just like ridiculous. I mean, they were top, 1, 2, 3 in the country, year in and year out. I do like Klubnik too. I think their offense sometimes does go away. Like I was watching them against Pitt. I mean, this was probably 2 months ago or something. And like Pitt doesn't really impress me at all, honestly. And they were struggling there. I mean, they have their games. Don't get me wrong. They have their games where they threw up 50 on people and they beat SMU, 34-31. Like they can do it. I think Texas is like another level up. Like I just think they're another tier up from a team like Clemson, and it's going to show here. Unfortunately for them, I mean, I'd like this to be a close game. It's an interesting matchup. And Texas, hasn't been this good in a while, but this year at least in a vacuum, like Texas is like far and above the better team in my opinion. So
yeah, no, I would agree. You look. I really thought Indiana would come out with this fire, but Clemson's a team where nobody really thought that they should be here, should have got into the playoff to begin with. They won their championship, so that's how they got in. So you're kind of playing with that on just a little chip on your shoulder too. So maybe that drives in this game. I thought it'd be Indiana in this game too, but well, yeah, we'll see what happened in there. SMU could be the same thing. Nobody thinks that they should be there. They think it should be Bama. SMU could be a team that comes out hot. And then, you get a little nervous if you're a Penn State fan because SMU comes out hot. They're playing feisty. Their piss is hot. Like we talked about Wisconsin, right? We talked about Wisconsin, Penn State. They came out hot. They punched them in the mouth right off the bat. Now, it helps that it's in Happy Valley, so that definitely helps there. If this was a night game, I wish it was a night game because it probably would be a whiteout for that one. But
yeah, it's going to be a noon. As Joe Klatt had to make it a big deal for no reason. He's basically saying, you can have a whiteout at noon, and he just stops, and I'm like, no. Well, I don't get how you don't understand a whiteout. It is a night game, they have the blackout at Purdue, the Wisconsin has the red out, right?
Yes. So the stripe out, they do stripes. We do.
Penn State has a stripe out at night games. Yeah, that's it. But they're gonna try to do the white, but it just doesn't. Nothing hits the same.
It's not the same.
No, it does. No. You can't manufacture it the same.
It'd be like if Ohio State did that blackout, but they did it during the day. This is really scary. Like when the Badgers went down to the shoe and they played them, and it was the blackout night, and you look up in the crowd, and you don't know where the crowd actually starts and where it is up there. That is you walk in and you're already demoralized. You're all right, here we go, boys. Then Graham Mertz goes out there, throws a pick, and it's 21-0 within the first 10 seconds of the game. And you're like, yeah, this is what we expected when we came to down here. So, it doesn't have the same ring when it's during the day versus at night there. So, we'll see. We'll see what kind of happens if they do the whiteout, how it looks. I know it's going to be jumping. I know that. I know Penn State, the fans will be there. It'll be rocking when they get in. So we'll see. We'll see how that one goes there. Last game of the day, Tennessee, Ohio State. Ryan Day coaching for his life in this game here, I believe. I believe he's coaching for his life. This game, Ohio State's favored by 7 right now, but Tennessee, they're a feisty team. They are a feisty team that can hang around. What do you think about this one? Do you think Tennessee can hang around here? Do you think it's going to be, do you think Ohio State, do you think they cover the spread, I guess? Do you think they cover the spread in this one?
I do. I think you'll see Ohio State play kind of the way they played against Oregon. I just think with Ryan Day knowing the writings on the wall, if they lose this game, there's no way they bring him back. There's just no possible way at the standard in which they operate there. And, 4 straight losses to Michigan, you just can't. So I just think they're going to be not only for him, but that Michigan game that took a toll on a lot of people's ego, I think, on that team. And they're just going to be now they have something to prove. And I really don't I almost wish they beat Michigan because now it's they have something that scares me more that they have something to prove because Ohio State usually has nothing to prove. They just cruise through the regular season and show up to the playoff or, and that type of thing, or show up to the Big Ten championship. I think Tennessee runs out of gas here. I just think Ohio State, I wouldn't be surprised if it win by 10, to be honest with you. I think Ohio State's going to play a different brand of football than they did. I think they're going to learn from that Michigan game, which is the worst thing for everybody else. But in this case, they are the better team on top of that. So unfortunately, I think they pull it off and pull the spread off as well.
If you're Ryan Day, don't go into this game and think that you have the biggest cojones in the world and try and establish the run game if it's not there. Get your guys involved, your skill position guys. You have wide receivers. Smith out there on the perimeter. You have a new Egbuka. That's how it is. Abuka. And then you have Tate. You have receivers with so much talent up the wazoo. Utilize it. Don't go away from them. Don't try. The Michigan game, why you lost is because you went, for some reason, you were like, we have to win the run game to win this game. And that's historically how it works. But rewrite it for 5 minutes. Like, why are you trying to establish a run game against a Michigan team where their best thing is their defensive line? And you're trying to establish it there. If you play that way against Tennessee, if you're trying to figure out who has the biggest balls in the world when you play Tennessee, guess what? They're going to be ready for you. So use your playmakers, establish that, get it going. Yes, 100%. If he does that, if he just allows Ohio State, the playmakers, to be the playmakers, they'll win this football game. They'll win this football game handily. If you play this stupid brand of football that you tried to play against Michigan there, okay, then we're in for a treat. We're in for a good one there against Tennessee, and it's going to be who blinks first. So we'll it could end up as that. We know Tennessee can score in volume too. So it could be that kind of game too, where it's who blinks first is going to be who loses this football game. We could see that brand too. So, I can't wait. I can't wait for tomorrow. There's going to be a lot of games happening. I got to go coach basketball first in the morning. And then after I'm done coaching little kids around, and then I can go home. I can sit down, kick the feet up, and watch some of these fantastic games there. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens there. But Aaron, I want to look ahead. I want to look ahead to the Badgers men's basketball team. They got a game coming up Sunday. They're in this weird stretch right now where they haven't played since this last Sunday. They don't play it all this week until Sunday. And then they have off until January 3rd. So they're in a weird stretch right now of not playing games really against anybody right now. They got this game with Detroit Mercy. And then after that, absolutely nothing until Iowa on the 3rd. So a long break. They have a long break with this game kind of just sitting in the middle of it there. But I wanted to go over this game. Detroit Mercy coming into this one 5-8. Not really great record, but this is not a pushover team. That's one of the biggest things that I stress every single time I watch a game is like, this team could beat us. They could find a way, right? Every team could find a way. This is a game you can't overlook if you're the Badgers. So I want to go over this team here. Orlando. So some of the key players, I was watching a little bit of this Detroit Mercy team, and some of the key players that I saw, Orlando Lovejoy, he's their main guy, the point guard there. He's averaging 13.7 points per game, 4 assists, 2 steals, 41% from the field on the season there, 25% from three, doesn't shoot a lot of threes, 2 for 8 on the season there, but he loves to get downhill, get to the rim, create from there. He's a great shot creator. He drives, he looks to kick, but he's also looking to get a little bunny there in the lane. So watch out for Orlando Lovejoy. That's the main guy on this team here. Leads them in scoring, assists, and rebounds. And the rebounding department's kind of weird for Detroit Mercy. They don't have a guy who has over 5 rebounds. Lovejoy leads them in rebounds with 4.4. So they don't really have a big guy. They rebound by committee. So it's kind of odd, but that's how they get after it there. Leads them in assists too with 4 per game and then 13.7 points per game there. Mac Manusel, he averages 13.4 points per game, 41% from the field, 38% from threes. He's about 8 for 21. Not bad. Doesn't shoot a lot of them there. Legend Getter. This is the name, Legend Getter. That is a heck of a name there. The forward for him, 9.2 points per game there, 47% from the field. And he's actually 54% from downtown. He's been shooting an impressive clip to start the season, 12 for 22 on the season. So not bad start for him there. Emmanuel Kwa and TJ Nadu, both of them guards there, both over 43s attempted on the season there. So those are your guys. Those are your guys that love to shoot it from downtown there. Kudu, he's averaged about 39%, and Nadu is about 35% on the season there. So both of them shooting a pretty decent clip there. They shoot about at the free throw line. They're about a 70% free throw shooting team. Not great at all. And then you look at them, about 12 turnovers per game there. So they like turn the ball over there a little bit. The odd part, like I said, was the rebounding. No guy over 5 rebounds per game. That's odd. Don't see that a lot. They're a rebound by committee. They have a lot of guys with 4, a lot of guys in there with 3, so they're a rebound by committee there. They go deep on that bench, though. They have about 11 guys who average over 10 minutes per game. So they can go deep on that bench. Mike Davis, the coach down there, he said, I have 13 guys and I will play 13 guys. So he's not afraid to go deep on that bench any day of the week. They do lack size, though. They do lack size. I believe their biggest guy sitting in there was, what the heck was he? I believe he was like 6'9", 6'10" is about the biggest guy they got for guys that actually play a majority of the minutes. So they lack size. They look to play fast. So they lack size. how they make up for that, they look to play fast. They look to get you in trouble with their quickness, getting downhill, getting to the rim, and shot creating there. They aren't afraid to go into a zone, and that's one of the things I want to talk about too with that lack of size. Saw it a little bit against Wake Forest there. They like to go into a little bit of a zone set to try and, shut down that paint area there. So there's going to be shots from the outside. So it's going to be on the Badgers to be able to knock down those shots while still utilizing the post area to get shots off too. They have to still look to establish that inside. So keys to the game for me here. Don't overlook this team. That's my number one. Don't overlook this team. I know they're 5-8, but guess what? You haven't played a game. This will be a week when you finally play this game here. That you are on a stretch right now. If you come in rusty, this could be a team that can put up points on you, and they can put up points in a hurry there. Win the paint scoring in this game. That is the biggest thing for me. Every single game I watch the Badgers. Get Steven Crowell, get Nolan Winter involved in that paint area, especially when you have the size advantage. Utilize the post, control the glass, get the rebounds, control the offensive glass, because the Badgers struggle. Offensive rebounds have been hurting this team for a while now. Utilize that size, work inside out. That's the biggest thing. Don't come into this game and think, let's knock down 33s in this game here. Establish it on the inside, work it back out. That's what I'm looking for in this one. Don't allow them to hang around in this game with turnovers. Don't play sloppy. Biggest thing. Don't play sloppy if you're the Badgers. Control the basketball, control the tempo, control the game. That's the biggest thing there. Keep guards in front of you. That's something we talked about the other day here on the show, was defensively. The Badgers have struggled with keeping guards in front of them. So defensively, keeping those guards in front of you, you're going to have the help. You're going to have the help side defense from the bigs, but that's how trouble happens too. So keep those guards in front of you. Try to keep them out of the lane there if you can. Keep getting Steven Crowell, Winter, and get them involved in that offense. It's something I just mentioned before there, but get those two babies involved any way you can, because when Steven Crowell's going, when Nolan Winter's going, everybody can get going there. If they become non-factors, then you are going to rely on those other guys to control the majority of the game there. Shots aren't falling, could lead to trouble there. So get those guys going. Big thing for me is to get Max Klesmit going. This guy has struggled this season. This is a game. Get him right. Get the confidence going before you get into Big Ten play, because you are going to need Max Klesmit when you get into Big Ten play. You cannot have Max Klesmit out there shooting air balls, shooting ducks up there. We got to see Max Klesmit get going there. Big thing, like I mentioned before, working inside out. That's going to help get Max Klesmit going. Don't make him shot create. Get him a little open look there where all he's got to do is step into that shot and bang it down. So that's something I'm looking for. Work the bench a little bit more in this one. You're going to get into Big Ten play, and Big Ten play will test the depth of this team. How far are you willing to go down your bench to find action, to when you get into foul trouble in Big Ten play, because we know you get into some hostile environments, you're going to get into foul trouble. How deep can you go on your bench? That's something I want to see this Badger team start utilizing that bench a little bit more, whether it's Jack Janicki, whether it's Kamari McGee, Carter Gilmore, Xavier Amos. Get those guys minutes, get them in there, get them involved, see what they can do for you on the offensive end. Get them in a rhythm, right? You cannot expect, if you give them 7 minutes a game here and there, that they're going to be able to get an offensive rhythm. So before Big Ten play, get them guys in a rhythm there. And last but not least, put the pedal down early. We watched these games early on for the Badgers. Holy Cross. They were losing to Holy Cross at one point. They were losing to UT Rio Grande at one point. They were losing to a lot of these, I don't want to say subpar programs, but not so good programs, not so good teams. They were losing to them early in games here. And, for a while, UT Rio Grande was leading them at the half, right? And the Badgers had to come back. They won that close game there late, but that could have went a different way. Get it going early in this one. Knock the rust off early. Get that post involved. Do the little things. Control the glass. Control the paint. Control all those little things in this one. And just put the pedal down. Put your foot on their throat and just end it, right? Don't let this team hang around with you. Think that they're as good as you, because that is what leads to trouble here. And you have this big, long break. You don't want to have all those faults leading into that game against Iowa there, especially with the week off. So, Aaron, anything you're looking at, have you seen a little bit of Detroit Mercy? I don't think many people have.
No, I'll be honest with you. I have not. I know they're doing better than they were in previous years, though. Previous years, wow. They were.
What was that year? They started 0-22 or something like that.
Yeah, they were.
And then they finally won a game, and the one fan rushed the court by himself.
Are you? Oh, that's great. That's absolutely great.
You win one game, you got to do it. You just gotta.
Credit to that. To hang around that long too is, that's to be awarded for. But I was just seeing that, Wisconsin last game against Butler, continues to shoot the ball well at the free throw line. So not that you have to stress that or anything, but you you look to continue that here. And like you said, I mean, like for example, if I see Penn State play Akron in football or whatever, like you want to see those guys, those second tier guys, get minutes and get experience in a game like this. Like anybody far down on that bench, like you want to see them get valuable minutes, confidence. I know you're not playing the best opponent, but I will always think like any game time is better than no game time. Like just get them in there, get them, looks and stuff like that. Like this shouldn't be a game where you're worried about it being close. Like Wisconsin should absolutely bully them. And yeah, I just, this is one of those you try and exercise everybody on the team to try and not only win, obviously, but to get valuable depth, built as much as you can.
Yeah, no, I agree. Get those guys minutes, see what you got, right? See what you got with them. See where they're going to fit at certain instances in the game where you're like, we've seen a little bit already when they need a defensive stop or they need some help out there in defense. Jack Janicki's the guy to go in. When they need that, help on the big, because Steven Crowell is playing like he does sometimes or whatever, Carter Gilmore goes in. Establish some kind of rhythm there, some kind of, rotation is what we're saying there, where you're going to know coming into Big Ten play, these are the guys that I can trust to put in there. And you got to gain that trust, right? So that's where we want to see some of these second tier, like you said, guys get in there against Detroit Mercy. And it's one of the last games where you're going to be able to, I guess, I don't want to say that they're not going to have an opportunity to blow another team out, but you're going to get into Big Ten play. And what are the odds that you blow out, a majority of those teams? Probably not. Big Ten plays usually close there. I mean, we're seeing a lot of, Penn State's been playing some good basketball here this season. Maryland, they're always a solid team. Nebraska's been playing well. UCLA's been playing well. I mean, this is the Big Ten Conference is pretty darn good this year. I mean, they're pretty darn good. Purdue's in there. We saw Illinois take Tennessee wire to wire the other day. Oregon, Michigan State's always good with Tom Izzo. I mean, this is a deep conference. I mean, I'm just looking over the Badgers schedule right now. And I'm like looking at teams. I'm like, this is a deep conference. Iowa, I saw who they playing the other night. Michigan, I believe they played well against Michigan. Michigan's a solid team, and you don't play them again. So that first loss hurt to them. But you look over the schedule and you're like, there isn't a week or a game where I'm like, yep, the Badgers are winning that one. Northwestern still got some good players on that team, and I know they can win games, and you have to go to Northwestern and play that one. I mean, the Big Ten's a tough conference. I mean, if you want to look around after this season, the Big Ten never does good in the tournament, and that's what kind of kills their standard of saying it was a deep conference. But as of right now, I'm looking at this, I'm saying this is a deep conference. Ohio State, good team this year. I mean, this is a deep conference all the way around right now, and I can't wait to see it start up. I mean, we've seen a little bit of Big Ten action already. Then you have your little non-conference over the holiday break, and then you get back into the gauntlet of the Big Ten schedule. That's where the Badgers are heading, so I can't wait for this one to start up here. But, Aaron, before we move on, before we get a little bit of NFL talk, see where we get with that, I want to hear, what is the fact of the day? December 20th. On this day, what is our fact of the day?
Yeah, this was a day I kind of had to definitely hop around to find something worth, I guess, talking about, but this is just U.S. history type deal here. Is 1803, the Louisiana Purchase was completed. So the United States was officially handed over the territory of Louisiana by the French. There's a lot more I can get into with that, but, this is a sports podcast, not a history podcast by any means. But, yeah, pretty cool. I mean, that's a long time ago, too. So talking about, a piece of history on this day and over 200 years ago, like just crazy. So,
the more you know. See, Kyle throws out some random ones at me. He really throws out the random ones when he's on here. Yeah. And then you come back and you give me that history lesson.
I mean, if it was a sports one, I would definitely throw that in. I checked, there's one site I always go to, but today I went to 3 different ones to try and find something. And that was nothing against it, but that's probably one of the most, here we go. I didn't know that. Here you go. Here's another 2 for today. I guess Elvis got drafted on this day, but he didn't go. Now they're not letting me read it because I don't have a membership to that.
You got to get the membership. Once you scroll down a little bit, it's like, do you have a membership? Sign in here. I'm like, no, I don't.
It's like, come on, man. But yeah, I mean, I can kind of read over top of it. He was Elvis served as a regular. I don't even know if this is real. I mean, it's thisdaytrivia.com, but I don't know. We'll disregard that one. I don't know what to do.
Disregarding. We're disregarded. I'm done with it. Done with it. I'm just done with it already there. So, I mean, let's talk a little NFL. Let's talk a little Packers today here. So I had a couple questions, I guess. And I've heard a lot of people, I believe I heard it on Bill Michaels. I've heard a lot of people talking about this. But if you were looking at, so you look at the NFC playoff picture. You have the Packers, the Vikings, the Lions, and the Eagles. Those are probably your top 4 teams, the ones that you're like, those teams have the best shot to get to the Super Bowl. When you look at those 4 teams, so right now the Lions, they're banged up. I mean, the injury report for the defense is practically the defense, and the guys that they're playing are guys that they found, I mean, down at Starbucks and everywhere else this week. Like, that's where they're signing them up. And I mean, they've been playing well for being a scratch, like, not much left for the stars on the defense. They've been playing well. So you can't knock it by any means. But we saw Dan Campbell. He didn't trust his defense at all the other day. He kicked an onside kick there early on, and, well, we saw that all ended up against the Bills. So, I mean, you figure the Eagles are now the team to beat, right? You know, you look at the rest of the landscape, you're like the Vikings and the Packers, they're not, the number 1 team by any means, and the Eagles beat them. So you look at it, you say, okay, the Eagles are the number 1 team. Out of those teams, your top teams, I mean, you're an Eagles fan, so I guess you can answer this one truthfully. Like, who is the team that you're like, that's the team that I'm most worried about seeing in the playoffs right now? Like, if you had to pick, like, you're going to have a home game. Like, that's probably how it's going to end up there. You're probably going to end up with a home game, as long as you don't slip up here down the stretch. If you were like, I don't want to see that team, I'd rather see this team. What is there, one, maybe 2 teams where you're like, I don't want to see them in the playoffs? Like, if you can't really avoid them, but that's the team I'm most scared of in the playoffs. Or if there's multiple, like, what are those teams for you right now as an Eagles fan? Which ones are you looking at?
I'll give you one that you'll probably not guess at all. Like, I mean, you might guess, but
the Rams.
No, it's
wow.
It's a team in the same division there, the Commanders. So the only reason I say that is because they play them this week. So let's say they beat them this week again. Now you have to go play them a third time. I'm a very, not superstitious, but I don't like playing a team 3 times in 1 year. I don't like those odds. I don't like, if a team's going to, like, if we play a team from the NFC North, they're not going to be as, like, the Packers and Eagles don't play each other nearly as much as the Eagles and Commanders. Like, it's just one of those things. Like, if you guys play the Vikings, you know the tendencies more than the Eagles would on the Packers there. So that's one. I mean, I still think they could beat them 3. I wouldn't be like, oh my God, we're gonna lose, but like I don't love that, Matt. Playing them 3 times in 1 year, I don't love doing that. The Rams, I do give them a little bit of like concern there, just because the offense can go crazy. I mean, I trust this offensive line for the most part, but they can get after the quarterback too. So let's say the offensive line starting to get thrown around a little bit. The Rams can go get you, and that's a recipe for a win. So whenever a team has a proficient defensive line, I'm a little bit worried. And outside of that, I mean, I don't think anybody from the NFC South there concerns. The Buccaneers have the Eagles number. It's just one of those, like, I hate it, but I think in Philadelphia it wouldn't be a major concern if somehow we'd have to go down there somehow, whatever. I wouldn't love that at all. But I mean, I'll throw the Packers in there. Out of the NFC North, I'm not afraid of the Vikings in the slightest. I'm really not. The Lions, like you said, I don't know. They're holding it together very well, like better than I thought they could. So I still have some concern, but like I tell you all the time, man, I'm a big, even though Jordan Love has not played up to what I think he can this year, it's always that what if he just puts it all together in one game, that I'm worried about, and he's a great quarterback. So not to, pat you on the back because it's a Wisconsin Sports on the Go show. I always have loved the upside of Jordan Love, and and having Jacobs in the backfield, I think the Eagles could pick apart the defense. I'm not extremely concerned about that, but the Packers offense can get it done. I trust the Eagles defense on the same token, but you never know. You don't know until you line it up. I mean, they already played once. It was a close game, good game. So that's one, but it's weird. I don't know. This playoffs is weird. I really don't think like the Eagles are good, but I think it's weird how this team's come together. Since they were 2-2, it's a completely different team. I don't know. It's San Fran was always kind of the team in the NFC where I was like, man, how do you beat they're loaded everywhere. They aren't. I mean, they have injuries. So the Eagles are loaded, but are they as loaded as San Fran was? You can make the argument, but I don't know.
They're not as loaded as the Lions would be if they were healthy. I mean, I look at that injury report, and it's like if they had this injury, if they had all these guys back, that defense would be unreal. Like you look at the linebackers that are out, and it's like I couldn't even imagine playing that team if they were healthy. That'd be ridiculous. And now we see it now, and it's like, oh, well, you'd go play him. Like, we'd go play him. I mean, Jahmyr Gibbs, I don't know where the podcast was. I saw it on TikTok is where I saw it. But he said that the Packers make him the most scared out of any of the NFC teams. I thought that was interesting. Like Jahmyr Gibbs, like they got a lot of talent, everything else. I could see it, right? You could kind of see it. They have a lot of talent on that offensive side of the football, and that makes you nervous. That makes you nervous a little bit. You watch with the Eagles, and I know Jalen Hurts just started throwing to A.J. Brown again, but you watch that debacle, and it's like every time the Eagles finally get right, it's like something else. It's not extra. It's always internal. Something internally always hinges them. Whether it's Sirianni, whether it's Hurts and A.J. Brown, you never know what it's going to be, but something internally just messes with them. I don't get it. So I look at them and I'm like, okay, who can realistically go to Philly and beat them? The Lions make me nervous. I think offensively, probably no David Montgomery anymore, which hurts, but you still have playmakers on the offense, and Jared Goff can still make plays. So you're like, okay, the offense is still fine, but the defense scares you. Minnesota, if Sam Darnold can keep playing like he's playing, yes. But if you had to pick a flaw, I guess, with the Minnesota Vikings, and I said it the other day, my flaw would be I don't know what Sam Darnold's going to do in the playoffs. I haven't seen him in the playoffs. I don't know what he's like in the playoffs. You can have a great regular season, but what's he do in the playoffs, right? Lamar Jackson puts up all these stats in the regular season, but once it gets playoff time, can you put those stats up again? And that's what, Sam Darnold hasn't proven to anybody. So that's your only, if I had to give a question mark, like great coaches with the Vikings, great players, great skill room. Addison and Jefferson are a dynamic duo that I don't know if you can beat it, right? You look at the defense. They got playmakers across the board on that defense, but you're like, where is the one piece where you're like, if it fails, this is it. It's Sam Darnold. That's my one spot. If the Lions fail, it's because the defense has got so many injuries on it. And it's not, you don't blame Dan Campbell. You don't blame Jared Goff, unless if they're the ones who lose the game for you. You don't blame them. You're like, where is our fault? The defense is banged up, right? With the Eagles, I don't know if there's a glaring weakness, right? You look at them on the outside looking in, you're like, there's no glaring. Like, I'm looking at them and I'm saying, like, this is the reason why they're going to lose. I think it could be Sirianni, but that's the thing is I'm looking, is it going to be an internal blow up? Is what I'm looking at. The Packers, it's like, I don't know, Jordan Love Toyotathon is unreal, right? And I think it was Matt LaFleur. They asked him the other day, they're like, do you know about the stats of Jordan Love during Toyotathon? He's like, what the hell is Toyotathon? And then they have to explain to him what Toyotathon is. But if there's something that's going to hinge the Packers, you could look at the secondary. You could say, does the secondary screw them? Is it because the front four sometimes struggles to get pressure, which they've been better in? And it's like, okay, well, the run defense has been better. You get Jair back. You finally get healthy. The Packers are one of those teams where you can't really blame it on injury. You're going to blame it on personnel or a skill group position that would screw it. But if there was a team for me that I'm like out of those top four where I'm like, this team has a realistic shot, and I know it's superstitions. I completely agree. It's hard to beat a team 3 times. I agree with that. But if there was like one team where I was like, this team gives me I have the most faith that they could go on the road into a hostile environment and rattle off a win, the Packers. Simply because they did it last year. They went down to Dallas And everybody was expecting Dallas to just steamroll the Green Bay Packers. And the Green Bay Packers said, hold on, we're going to steamroll you instead. And it led to the downfall of Jerry World and everything else. Like we look at the Cowboys now, they haven't been the same since that day. But if the Packers, I mean, they returned essentially everybody and then added pieces on top of that. You're like, if there's a team that could probably go into Philly or go on the road to Ford Field and rattle off a win with the same unit they had last year. I mean, the thing with it was Jordan Love, right? He's a rookie quarterback. He's going on the road to Dallas. Dallas, this is a historic team. He's going on the road down to Dallas. He's hearing all the news, right? Everybody's like, the Cowboys are going to roll the Packers. The Cowboys finally got the shot. They went in there and they were unfazed, right? They just said, all right, here we go, right? We got something to prove. They went out to San Francisco and, I mean, Anders Carlson misses a kick there. And that, I mean, the whole debacle that was Jordan Love threw that interception. But you couldn't tell me up until that point that a lot of people didn't believe the Packers are about to do this. They're about to win at San Fran. They're about to go to Ford Field, who they just beat the crap out of the Lions on Thanksgiving. They're about to go back to Detroit for a chance to go to the Super Bowl. Like, it was just that kind of mentality that team had, and that's the team you got back. So you're like, playoff experience, who's got it? Who's that team that when they went into the playoffs, they were unfazed? On the road, right? That's the Green Bay Packers. So why I have in it, it sounds like a homer thing, right? Because this is a Wisconsin sports show, I'm a Packer fan. You're like, it's a homer show. No. I'm realistically looking and I'm like, okay, the Vikings, what did I say was the fault with them? Sam Darnold in the playoffs. I don't know what he's going to play like. He might be fine, right? He might be fine. But if there was one thing that was going to hold him back, playoffs. The Lions, injury. It's hard to win in the playoffs when you don't got a defense, right? And you're Dan Campbell and you have to roll the dice and tell everybody you're kicking an onside kick. That is the dumbest rule they've ever made. But you have to tell people you're kicking an onside kick. Like, you can't win like that. We saw that. It's hard to do it that way. So you look at the two and you're like, Lions and Eagles. Or not Lions, Packers and Eagles. Like, those are the two teams where you're like, if I had to pick right now, I'm giving it there. I'm like, Jordan Love and this offense are feeling it. You got Josh Jacobs in the backfield. That dude's a workhorse. I mean, they just keep giving him carry after carry. The defense, if they can be a bend but don't break defense and the offense can keep rolling. I mean, if you go into Philly, I know it's impossible to do, but if you can slow down Saquon Barkley, if you can limit him of what his impact is on a game, then you're like, Jalen Hurts, go win the football game by yourself, because we always talk about, we're like, who's the MVP of football? And I always come back to Saquon Barkley is the best player on the Eagles team. Why? Because I don't think they're at where they're at right now without Saquon Barkley. I just don't think so. Without him, I'm like, this offense is a shell of itself. With them, they're a rock star. I'll say the same thing for the Packers. Without Josh Jacobs, they're a shell of themselves. But guess what? With them, they're rock stars. Without David Montgomery, without that defense for the Lions, hurts them. Now, the Vikings, they have it all. If Sam Darnold continues to play like he is, they have it all. So they could be a serious threat. That's just my only flaw with them there. So I guess that would be my reasoning of who my team that could go into Philly. The other team is the Rams, simply because that offense can put up numbers. Like, Matthew Stafford is still a dog. I don't know who needs to be told that, but that guy's still a dog. He can go anywhere you want him to go and win football games. And when you got Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp, the only thing that I think would hinge the Rams would be the run game. They don't have a run game that can like run you over. I mean, Kyren Williams, I got my fantasy team, and he's good enough, right? But he's not a Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry, Saquon Barkley kind of guy. He's not a guy who's you're going to lean on him in a football game. The Packers can lean on Josh Jacobs. The Lions can lean on Jahmyr Gibbs. They're going to have to now because they don't have David Montgomery. The Eagles can lean on Saquon Barkley. But I just don't believe, and the Vikings, they can lean on Aaron Jones. He has a little bit of a fumble issue. We saw that this year a little bit, and we've seen it in the past. But you can lean on a guy like Aaron Jones. I just don't believe the Rams would be able to lean on a run game. So if you would either have to win, you would have to win a shootout then with the Eagles then if you wanted to play that way. So I don't know. I guess that would be my team that could go into Philly. It would have to be the Packers at this point. It would have to be the Packers. I'm not saying the Lions couldn't, because Dan Campbell can still fire up second, third, fourth string guys to go and just run into a brick wall for him. I mean, he can still fire them up, but it's just those injuries on that defense. At some point you can't overcome them, right? At some point you can't overcome them. And that's what we saw against the Bills. And I mean, the Packers, they shoot themselves in the foot against the Lions all the stinking time, right? So, I mean, I'm not nervous about the Packers playing the Lions again. Like, I'll take them one more time. Like, the team I'm most nervous about would either be if we have to play the Rams, because the Rams would just try to light up our secondary, or if we had to play the Eagles, because then it's a question of, what do you sell out on? Do you sell out on stopping Saquon Barkley and let Jalen Hurts try to beat you? Or do you sell out on stopping the pass game, A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith, and let Saquon Barkley run wild? Like, you have to almost pick some with, explosive offenses like that.
Yeah, absolutely. The thing with the Vikings, like going back to that one, is I think if they were the top team, like the NFC, like if everybody had to go through Minnesota, right, then I give them a fair chance. You said that, the Packers, obviously the Packers are battle tested after going through, they go to Dallas, which I would definitely pick them. Like, I don't trust Dallas to beat it. I mean, when's the last time they won a playoff game? That's one of those things. But either way, Green Bay had to go on the road down there and then out to San Fran. San Fran is one of the hard, like when that team's really good, that's one of the hardest places to win. And unfortunately, obviously the Packers came up short, but like they played them hard. That was a just a hard fought game. So the Vikings, that's one of those things too. Like, I know that's not going to apply every year, but just like Tampa Bay has the Eagles number, like the Eagles have the Vikings number in the playoffs. Like, whenever I see the Eagles play the Vikings, I'm like, all right, I don't care who's on the other side. I really don't. It's just one of those. I'm not going to say it's going to work every time, but it's like a psychological thing after a while where it's like, okay, we can't beat this team in the playoffs. Like, it's just one of those things. So, the NFC isn't as, I mean, we all know the AFC is like it's just top to bottom better, I think. But like the NFC doesn't have that many like terrifying teams. Like, it's just like the Eagles are pretty good. The Packers are pretty good. The Lions aren't, like, I'm not going to say they're deceiving 12-2, but they kind of like the team that they're lining up right now isn't the same team. So it kind of is a deceiving 12. And then like that whole NFC South division is just like, that's a joke. I mean, unless somehow, some way, Tampa pulls it together in the playoffs. I mean, maybe they win one game. I don't know, but I don't give them that much of a chance. And like, is Seattle really going to do anything? Like, there's a lot of teams that are just like, are they really going to do anything? I don't know.
Yeah, no, I would agree. I love how they're showing Indiana's schedule on the screen now for this game here, letting everybody know this is who they beat to get to this point. Fire up the Alabama fans a little bit more. That's what we should do. I mean, that's basically what they're doing right now. It's like, let's fire them up. Let's fire up the college football world again.
Did you see that hit on what was it, Riley Leonard, like third quarter though, when he was out of bounds and like,
oh yeah, he got clocked.
Yeah, he got, and oh man, now I don't know. Maybe I'm turning into a Kirk Getty hater a little bit. Like, I'm kind of.
I think that's what he wants. He almost like
that's what. Yeah, and I don't like. I don't know.
It's like Ryan Day though. If you're an Ohio State fan, you love it. If you're not, you hate him.
Yeah,
Kirk Getty's the same thing. Like, sometimes I don't want you to be a likable guy. James Franklin, he isn't likable to the Penn State people. So I mean, he's not
likable to anybody. Yeah,
he's not likable to anybody at this point here, and yet he still somehow finds a way to keep his job and keep himself around. So
I almost think like these college coaches, like, this might just be a theory, but it's like with the recruiting, with the transfer, I just feel like they are mentally like they're just pissed off all the time because there's just so much crap going on that like you can't be level-headed anymore. Like, it's just, you got this problem, that problem, this problem. There's always problems. Like, no matter, even if you're the best team in like Oregon, there's going to be guys leaving that. It's just, you can't keep track of everything.
No, you can't. And that's why we saw so many, I mean, Nick Saban, Tony Bennett in the college basketball, why we're seeing some of these old coaches, Jeff Hafley with the Packers, with defensive coordinator, why we saw him walk away from a head coaching job in college to go to the NFL and be a defensive coordinator. He doesn't want to deal with it. Why do you want to deal with all these contracts and, a blocked field goal there for this is the spark. This is the spark that they needed. A little bit of life. There's a little bit of life there for him. I just want to see him make it a good game. Like, just shut everybody up. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care if they lose. Like, we could all be Kurt Getty haters and everything like that. Like, I'm all good with that. I just want to see Indiana make it a good game to shut up everybody, because otherwise my Twitter feed tonight, tomorrow, the next day, all the way up until the season kicks off next season will be Alabama fans crying that Indiana got into the college football playoff to begin with. Like that is what we're going to see, and it's just going to be ridiculous at some point there. So I just want to see them make it a game. Just make it a game, put a drive together, make this a 20-10 game, and then go from there. Like that's my hope. That's my hope every single year. Just make it a game, right? Just make it a game. So we talked about that a little bit. Question is, and the question that I've been hearing a lot, and that is, would you say the Packers win against Seattle was their best win of the season? Would you say it was their best win? So we look at the wins that they've had. They beat the Colts. They beat the Titans. They won against the Rams. They beat the Cardinals, the Texans, the Jaguars, the Bears, the 49ers, the Dolphins, and now Seattle. Now, I'm going to say yes, it was their best win. Why? I look at that schedule. I say they went to LA. They played the Rams, but guess what? There was no Puka Nacua. I believe Cooper Kupp was out at that point there. Yeah, they did not. I mean, you were playing the second string wide receivers for the Rams. So that definitely didn't help the Rams out there. Now, you still won the football game, so don't get me wrong. You still got to play who's in front of you. You can't control anything about that. The game, Texans, good win. It was at home. Cardinals, good win. I think one of their most complete games of the season, if you had to ask me, was against Cardinals. But at home, I look at the Bears. You barely snuck that one out. If the field goal wasn't blocked, they would have won that game. 49ers, that was a dismantled 49ers team. The Dolphins, who knows with the Dolphins? I don't even know what to talk about with the Dolphins. I think Tyreek Hill, I'll be honest with you, I think Tyreek Hill is a washed version of himself at this point. Like watching him play, he's not what he was. So Dolphins, I wouldn't count that as out. I'm looking at Seattle and I'm saying, you went to Seattle and you won that football game. And you came out early on in that one. Your first 3 drives led to scores. You had 2 touchdowns. You had a field goal in there. You controlled the narrative of that game from the beginning. The Seahawks kind of made it. You would have been more worried, and I heard somebody else talking about this. You would have been more worried if you were playing, I don't know where the heck you would be playing there. But the lead it felt like it was safe, but they were still kind of clawing their way back into that one. This game, the Packers controlled it. They didn't get the big lead until late there. The kind of second half was iffy play calling wise and everything like that. But I still feel like this is the best win because you went on the road. Your defense played well in this one. They put some pressure on the quarterback. Lucas Van Ness didn't record anything for really stats in this one. And a lot of people are like, well, he doesn't have any stats. He must have sucked. He had a lot of pressures in this game. So, you look at those little things in this one. The Packers played well. They played well in this one, and they went on the road and won it. And that's where I was looking at. I'm saying this was their best win of the season. It wasn't maybe their most impressive win. It wasn't maybe where you felt the best, but I feel like this was their best win because they went on the road and they won that football game. What do you think? Like, looking at their schedule, would you say that this was the best win for the Packers so far? I mean, this was a playoff team, right? The biggest thing with the Packers, they hadn't really beat a playoff team, a playoff caliber team up until this point. Then you went into Seattle and you won that game. I mean, that sets that narrative that, hey, we can go on the road and we could win a football game against a team that's winning a division, whether it's the NFC West, which is kind of iffy right now, or it's, winning a game against NFC South. You're still beating a playoff caliber team, which is something that they hadn't proven they could do yet.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it is their best win, to be honest. Like, I think they played really well against the Dolphins, but like you said, what are the Dolphins like? I think, even Seattle's not great by any means, but you're going up there. That's a tough place to play, and even if the team's not amazing. Seattle, the 12th man, the whole deal, and it's on the road. Wow, and Notre Dame should have had that interception there, but you look at the Houston game, you can make an argument. Okay, Houston's a better team than Seattle, probably, yeah, but. Jordan Love throws 2 picks in that game. They're not clean. Like, that game was like basically a nail biter. This was, Packers pretty much dominated this game. You come out in the first quarter, 14 unanswered points, and you didn't really look back at any point. So, yeah, I'm with you there. I think this is the most complete game offensively. Even Jacobs didn't do that much, but they gave him the rock 26 times. Like, it just felt it's a balanced attack. It's efficiency on offense there. And yeah, I mean Seattle, and then you look at the flip side on defense. I mean, Geno Smith didn't even have a touchdown, and Sam Howell comes in. They both throw a pick, so you win the turnover battle. This is just one of those like you said, it might not have been like, wow, this team looks amazing, but you didn't really have any worries either. It's just like, okay, we're handling business, like we're doing enough to win offensively. We're doing enough, definitely defensively, to disrupt that whatever they want to do. So it's like I said, whenever you go up there, that's just, it's one of those places you don't want to necessarily go for whatever. It's just, you don't want to have to play a road game there. And yeah, they controlled the entire tempo of that game.
Yeah, and you look at it and you're like, look at like you said, the defense in that game. 7 sacks in this one. They had 10 tackles for a loss. I mean, 12 quarterback hits in this game. That's putting pressure. That's something that we haven't seen a lot out of the Green Bay Packers, is putting pressure on opposing quarterbacks. So that's something you did in that one there. And you held the Seahawks to, I wouldn't say terrible numbers, but you held them down. I mean, you look at the total yards in this one, 208 for the Seattle Seahawks, the Sea Chickens, as they love to call them there. You held them to 208 yards there. I mean, 3.7 yards per play. 3.7 yards per play, while your offense was averaging 6. Like those are some great numbers you're looking at. You're looking at, you gave up 0 sacks. And I saw a number on that. The Packers offensive line. I saw an impressive number. If I can find it here real fast, I'll read it off. Hold on, right there. The Packers are the most blitz team in the NFL. 37% of of passing snaps, they are blitzes are coming, right? Yet the Packers have allowed the second fewest sacks in the NFL at 16. I don't know when that I believe it was just the other day that I saw that number. So that is ridiculous. That is ridiculous. You are the most blitz team in the NFL, yet your offensive line is giving up the second fewest sacks on the season. Hats off to the offensive line. That is hats off the offensive line. It has helped a lot with, Jordan Love's recovery, right? But now we're seeing Jordan Love healthy, and everybody's like, now they're jumping on the train, right? They're like, oh, this guy, at one point they're like, was he really the guy? Should we start Malik Willis over Jordan Love because Malik Willis can do this and that and everything in between? And now Jordan Love's healthy, and they're like, holy crap. Like, did you see him roll out and make that 20-yard throw? Like, yeah, he's healthy. He's finally feeling good. Like, that's what you're going to get out of Jordan Love when he's healthy. But you had to let it get there. With Josh Jacobs, you had to let it get there. Jordan Love now being able to go under center, I still don't understand why the Packers run so much crap out of shotgun and everything like that. It irritates me at times. But Jordan Love goes underneath the center more now. I mean, it's all those little things with this team that, and now I'm got my laptop, my searching laptop just shut off there. It's completely just going haywire on me over here. It's just ridiculous. Just ridiculous. Don't know what's going on anymore. But this team, we talked about before. We said, what's that one team that could go on the road in the playoffs and we feel comfortable with? Let's ask the question. If you had to pick a team, right? The Eagles probably going to get home games throughout the playoffs, barring that they lose a lot of games here. They're going to end up with home games throughout the playoffs, whether it's a 1 seed or a 2 seed, right? They're going to end up with home games up until they would get to that NFC Championship game if they didn't get the 1 seed, right? So what's that one team that you're like, or maybe you have a couple that you're like, could they go on the road and win games, right? The Packers have got to be one of those teams for me. I'm like, they could go on the road and they could win a game. They could win a game. They could win 2 games. I feel comfortable with them going on the road. Why? Because I look at this team and I'm like, they did it. They've done it already. Now, that's not saying that wasn't you don't want to say it wasn't a fluke or anything like that. But, I'm not saying like, oh, because they did it one time, they're going to be able to do it twice, right? But that was an even younger team when they went on the road and they went to Dallas and were unfazed. When they went to San Fran and they were unfazed. That was an even younger team when they went and did those things. Now you look at them, they're a year more experienced. Matt LaFleur's a year more. They get healthy on the defense. They got some playmakers. We see Edgerrin Cooper. That guy's unreal. Watching him, he could be a top linebacker in the game of football here. We could be watching a star being born there with Edgerrin Cooper. Quay Walker could be a star. The Packers could have the 2 best linebackers in football if Quay Walker could get out of his own head. If he could just get out of his own head and just play with the physical attributes that he has, because physically, I mean, that guy he's fast. He can get downhill. He's got a big frame. He's got everything you want in a linebacker. I now see why my research laptop shut off. It wasn't plugged in this whole time. A little dingus wasn't plugged in the whole way. That's why it shut off. I was like, why did it just randomly shut off? Now I figured it out. It died. So that's where we're kind of at over here. It's just been that kind of, it's like Indiana football right now. It's just not working. Just not working at the moment here. I mean, Aaron, what is that team for you? What is that team for you? Or maybe a couple teams where you're like, that team could go on the road and you feel confident with them pulling off some wins, or maybe just one, maybe a couple wins on the road in the playoffs.
I will say real quick, Warm Kids Wisconsin. Do you know that TikTok page? They did.
Yes. Yep.
Oh, they said, and finally a complete game. So I'm sure that was in reference to when we were talking about the Packers. And
finally a complete game. And, there was an argument, and I talked about it the other day. We heard Bill Michaels. He talked about it there too, and everybody was giving him a whole uproar about it. I agree. It was, you want to say a complete game. Going into the half, we talked about that going into the half, and now my research computer shut off here, so I can't really read through the entire play-by-play. But the Packers had about two plus minutes going into the half. They got the ball back, and that drive that they had before the half, there was a play where they ran the ball. It was close to the first down, if not the first down there. They had a 2-minute warning, and then they ran a play, and they let the clock run for I believe it was dang near the entirety of the play clock before they ran the next play. And you got past midfield. It's like, just go with it. Just go for the end zone, right? Because in the playoffs on the road, you're up 17-3. I get that. You were up big at that point. But when you go on the road in the playoffs, how much better are you feeling going into the locker room if you put it all out there on that final drive, didn't waste time, you put it in the end zone, you're up big going into halftime. Instead, you kicked a field goal. It still felt like the momentum could have still been swung, right? And then you had the second half, and they had some of them drives where even Matt LaFleur and Jordan Love alluded to it in their press conferences. And that's where I was like, I don't feel so bad saying it wasn't a complete game. Jordan Love, Matt LaFleur said, that second half, we had some terrible play calling. We didn't execute on plays. And that's where we kind of had these sets of drives. Now, I know late in the game, they let it drive. Romeo Doubs had a great catch, but you had a set of drives there in that second half where it was like, are we playing conservative football? What are we doing right now? Like, it's not like we're putting the pedal to the metal. And so, yes, I want to say defensively, they had a great game, right? Offensively, I thought the play calling and execution in that second half towards, at the beginning of the second half, going for a while there until that fourth quarter, kind of subpar. And I thought it could have been better. So if you had, and I know everybody's like, well, why do you nitpick? They won 30-13. Like, why are you nitpicking? I'm not I don't want to nitpick, right? But you have to find, where could it hurt, right? Where could it hurt? If you give the Eagles an opening, if you go on the road to Philly and you're up 17-3 and you have a drive before the half, I'm going to tell you this right now. If I have 2 minutes and 30 seconds, I want to see the Packers go down the field with tempo, with urgency, get that baby in the end zone, and go into the locker room up 24-3 instead of 20-3, because 20-3 seems a lot more feasible than 24-3. And then coming out of the half, because you know that on the road in the playoffs, right? The way that it worked out in this game, I don't know what the coin flip would be in the other one, but the Seahawks got the ball first in the second half. So say they go down the field and they punch it in the end zone. Now it's 20-10. Now it's a close ball game there. Now that's not what happened. But what I'm saying is that would be, I guess, the couple things that I looked at in that game where I was like, was it a complete game? It was a complete game where the defense played well. I would say that. The defense played well. Offensively, I thought it could have been better in the second half there, especially in the third quarter. Outside of that, I thought the offense was fine, right? Still had a good game. I'm not knocking the Packers at all. I don't want to knock the Packers at all in this one, but I still felt like there was moments where I was like, it could have been better. It could have been better. There was moments where I felt like if this was against the Eagles, if it was against the Lions, if it was against those teams, they didn't put it away, right? They put it away late, which was great. They put it away late, made it just, look the 30-13 score. But I thought there was opportunities before that to put this game away. And it could have been right before half, right? So I guess that would be the only things that I would say would have been my kicks, right? My punches on the Packers in that one. But outside of that, I thought it was a good game. And like we just talked about earlier, we said it was their best game of the season. We didn't say it was the greatest game. We didn't say it was a complete game. It was their best game. Now it's about those little things in that best game that make it even better, right?
Yeah, exactly. And to your point right before half, like I'm so with you there. There's teams out there and there's teams that I've watched, personally, like my own teams that have, okay, we're gonna kneel it and go into half. It's like I'm not saying you got to go for it you maybe you don't have to be Dan Campbell every single time, but there is in the playoffs, like you can never have too many points. Like I'm a proponent of, we saw it with the Falcons and the Patriots. Like there were opportunities where the Falcons should have just taken 3 points and not let Tom Brady especially if you play a team like that, you cannot come off the gas. But I don't care who you play. Like how many? We saw the what was that, Jags and the Chargers. I guess that just last year, or I guess just last year. Like in that first round of the playoff, the Chargers were up 30-0 or something. Like it was crazy, 27-0, and or 28-0, and they the Jaguars come all the way back. I'm the same way. People can say it's negative thinking, but you have to, unless your team goes out there and wins 48-0 and left nothing on the field, there's always going to be something you could have done better. And cashing in points when you have opportunity, I do not like field goals. I don't care if it's, you take them if it's 4th and 14, sure. But, a field goal compared to a touchdown right before half, especially, just knowing that you kind of willed your way all the way down the field and found a way to get in the end zone, that's demoralizing for a defense. If even on a kick, a defense got to think, well, you know what? We held them to a kick. Even though it is 3 points, we didn't want to give up any. We didn't give up 7. So they can at least have that, in the back of their head, hey, we're not going to give up a touchdown in the second half. You pedal down. Like I said, I'm not saying go for it on 4th and 14 and, on your own 25-yard line. But if you have a chance to go down, score points before half and really demoralize that other team, you do that every single time. Because how many times have you seen it come back and bite you? And especially in the league that it is now, scoring is so prevalent that, we see 20-point comebacks all the time.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I would agree. I would agree 100%. So I guess that would be the one thing that I would say there. John, we got John in the comments here, the Oregon guy, still saying Notre Dame will beat Georgia in the next. Hey, Georgia's got their own faults, man. I would agree. They got their own faults. That could be a good game.
That'll be interesting. A very good game. See how they line up against each other.
So we got a little off base with our question there, but before we're going to end it here pretty soon. We got over our hour 30 mark. That's okay. We had the question before. If you had if there was one team, a couple teams that we got John here. He's got his quack in there. He's always got to give us that quack when he comes in. If you had that one team or multiple teams that you believe could go on the road in the playoffs and rattle off some wins, who are the ones that you feel most comfortable with in that NFC right now?
In the NFC, obviously I'm going to go just kind of going right back to it there. Packers for sure. Man, I just don't that Cardinals team is too fluky. Even if they, Seattle, I don't trust Seattle at all. I don't trust Geno. I almost trust Kyler Murray more than Geno Smith. He says Viking. I don't see it though. I don't.
John, Aaron, he doesn't trust Sam Darnold. He doesn't trust
Rams.
Sam Darnold.
Maybe I give the Rams a better chance than the Vikings for sure. I do. If the Eagles would have to go on the road, I give them a good chance. Detroit still, I still give Detroit, Detroit and I know the Packers are fully healthy versus Detroit, but I do give them that. I give them that fair chance. Now, will he do it? I don't know. That's the thing. I don't know. It's as far as confidence level, I feel like it's Packers, Detroit, 1A, 1B. Don't trust. You don't have to trust the Eagles. That's okay. Who else? The Rams is probably 2. So you slot the Packers and Lions right there, 1A, 1B. You can interchange them. The Rams 2. I don't see it with the Vikings. I don't think they're gonna. I think Darnold in the playoffs is gonna become a problem. Like that's where the wheels will fall off. I thought they would have fell off by now, but they didn't. So yeah, I really feel like it's those. The Commanders. I mean, the Commanders could win one playoff game. I don't think that they're incapable to win one. I don't think they win more than one. That's where I kind of stop.
Okay.
There.
Yeah, I could see that. I like that. I like that there. So I guess that's all I got for the Packers for the day. I mean, we kind of went over it all today. Holy crap. Well, we got into a lot. We're watching Riley Leonard and Notre Dame just completely dismantle Indiana up to this point. We got a lot of college football coming up this weekend. Can't wait for those games there. But Aaron, we got one more thing I want to get into. My research computer's off here, so I want to pull it up on the old telephone here. The Bucks did lose tonight. They lost to the Cavs 124-101. So Bucks, no Damian Lillard though. So we got to remember that. With that. Let's look at the NFL. Let's get our picks in. Last time out, Aaron did beat me in the picks. So here we go. One question here from John before we get into our picks. John says, what happens if they win the NFC? You give Darnold what kind of contract? Franchise him or and after 1 to 2 years trade? What do you think, Aaron? If they win the NFC, the Minnesota Vikings, what kind of contract you giving Sam Darnold? You franchise tagging him? You give him a 1 to 2 year deal? What are you doing with Sam Darnold?
I mean,
if they rattle off wins and go to the Super Bowl, I mean, you got to stop with the slander on Sam Darnold.
Yeah, of course.
He must have done something good along the way.
But he says it. If they win the NFC, so you're saying they win the entire NFC? I mean, John, I'm not going to lie to you. I would bet my entire life savings that they don't do that. But if they go all the way, I mean, I'd give them a 2 year. If they even get to the NFC Championship, I give them a 2 year deal. But I'm telling you right now, it's not. Sorry. I think he is a Vikings fan. It's not going to happen. I don't see it in any world happening. If he comes out, maybe I'm gonna ask him a question. Then if he comes out and plays one playoff game and throws a pick, he says you agree. I mean, at least you agree. You're level headed then. At least if he comes out and plays okay, right? He throws a pick, throws 2 touchdowns, goes for 220. Then what do you do? Do you give him a franchise? Like if he keeps you in the game, but he never wows you. You know what I mean? He's
a Patriots fan. Yeah.
Sorry to hear that now, but you had your time in the sun. What do you think, Trey? I mean, like if he plays just a little better than game manager, 2 touchdowns, 1 pick, he's like 65% complete, QBR of like 80 or whatever. It just nothing wow about it, right? And like he doesn't look bad. It's like a Kirk Cousins playoff game. It's like, okay.
So are we saying that he went to the NFC Championship, or are we saying they went to the Super Bowl?
No, I was saying they lose the first game. Like they lose the first game and he plays just like he doesn't do it. Like there were times in the game he could have made a play, didn't, and they put up, let's say like 21, they lose by a touchdown. Then what do you do?
So the question then becomes, do you trust that JJ McCarthy is going to be ready next season? Because Sam Darnold got you to that point. He played well enough to get you there, right? He's played well at times. He didn't show his best performance in that game. You lost. If you scores 2 touchdowns, Aaron Jones probably gets 1. You had 3 scores there. I mean, you're looking at your defense then and saying, how the heck did you give up so many points? I mean, I don't know if he can win a shootout. That's my question. Can he win a shootout, right? No. I don't know if he can. He's got a lot of playmakers. Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, they've been playing well. TJ Hawkinson in there too. I mean, yeah, I'm still signing him back for a year. If he gets you into the playoffs and you're rolling, I mean, I give him a year. I give him a year. I mean, yes, and like John said there, JJ was supposed to be the starter before the injury. Yeah, and Sam Darnold has played well in the absence of that. I mean, if he gets the end of the playoffs with the record that they've had so far, I think you give him a year. You give JJ time to kind of just sit behind because right now he's just been injured. So he doesn't really have time to get back into it. So you give JJ a little bit more time. You give him a year, see how it goes, almost roll like a Michael Penix now coming in for Kirk Cousins. If it starts to fall off, you put JJ in, you're not really hurt. I mean, yeah, I would roll 1 year and see if another team wants to grab him for more than that, and you kind of let it happen there. So yeah, we'll see what happens. I mean, it's a big question mark of the offseason at this point here. So, Aaron, let's do our picks. So, we got our Saturday games. I forgot about the Saturday games. Saturday is going to be absolutely nuts. College football, NFL games mixed in there. It's going to be nuts.
I forgot. Yeah. Yep.
I can't wait there. John did say, wouldn't shock me if a team goes after him instead of using a draft pick like the Titans. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, can the Vikings get him back for 1 year in a smaller contract? I don't know, because there's going to be other teams who are like, Sam Darnold had a good year. Let's sign him up. But the question is, can he do it outside of the system that has been working for him in Minnesota? That's what we're going to see. So I completely agree. I think other teams will take shots on him. We'll just see if they kind of work out there. I know the Vikings got to be looking at Aaron Rodgers because that one is going to come full fold there with the prophecy. So, Aaron, let's get to our picks. We got first game up on Saturday. We have the Texans and the Chiefs right now.
It's crazy to even like think, right, that the Texans can win this because like they're shaky jakey of all the teams, really. They are. But the Chiefs barely win games. You know what I mean? It's like,
and what is Patrick Mahomes? Is he healthy? Is he not healthy? He practiced, but is that just a facade? What's going on?
That too, I totally forgot about that. He might. I mean, let's see. Can we get because you have to release the fact that he's playing, right? You can't just say.
Yeah, there's got to be on the injury report for him there.
Injury report. Let's get that quick because that's obviously huge.
I can't get nothing quick. Research laptop is still trying to boot back up here. It's a disaster over on this side. John says Texans. He's got the Texans.
Well, so I'm seeing on CBS Sports will most likely play. NFL.com 1 day ago, he's off the injury report, so he's going to play.
How healthy though?
I still think like 60 at 60%. I'm taking Mahomes. I mean, even though he hasn't had an outstanding year, I think they'll do enough. I think the Chiefs' defensive line will eat on that offensive line of Houston that's just not that good. So, yeah, I think the Chiefs will keep it rolling. This might be close, though. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised. But I'll take Chiefs here. Unfortunately, they'll win another one.
Give me the Texans. I want to take the Texans, make it spicy here, and make those people out there like they're going to question. They're going to be like, could the Texans actually do it? Could they win some games in the playoffs? Like they proved that they could beat the Chiefs at Arrowhead. I mean, like just get excited. Just get people excited. So I'm going to take the Texans to win that one there. The Chiefs are favored by 3.5 right now. Steelers, Ravens, a little bit of a rematch there. Let's see here. I believe that one, it should be at M&T Bank Stadium there for that one. What do you like in that one?
So going to that, I think Pickens is still out because that spread is like obnoxiously big for the Ravens. If not, I mean, it's 7 in a Steelers Ravens game is like 25 in another game. Like that's just unheard of. I do like the Ravens here. I think they've been struggling against the Steelers. I think Lamar's lost like 6 or 7 in a row, something crazy. I don't know the exact number there, but yeah, I just Ravens are heavily favored, like heavily favored. I think it's -3 something. Wow, Ravens are first in offense. I did not know that. But yeah, give me the Ravens. Without Pickens, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough without Pickens. If they had Pickens in there, I think the spread would come way down, and I think it's like a 3.5 type deal or 2.5. But without Pickens, I mean, we saw it against the Eagles. They have a hard time getting anything going. And their running game, I blame the offensive line more than anything, but their running game doesn't really, impress me either. It just they have nowhere to go sometimes. They have no push on that line, and it's they got to fix that. I don't know why they continuously not fix it, but they haven't fixed it, and they're still a good team. But I think Baltimore needs that win. Keep pace. Baltimore can still win this division. It's up for grabs. So
Yep. No, I agree. I'm gonna agree with you there. I like the Ravens. John likes the Ravens too. He said, "Give me the Ravens in that one." So we got the Ravens there. That's gonna flip us over to the Sunday slate. First game up: Rams and Jets. Rams are favored by 3 right now. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, this one is in. It's in New York. It's in New York for that one. I'm gonna take the Jets.
wow.
I'm gonna take the Jets. I don't know what's pointing me in that direction. Give me the Jets to win that one. I did watch a little bit of Aaron Rodgers and Enigma. I watched the first episode there, and wow, it's like interesting.
Does it make you hate him less or more? Or indifferent?
No, I don't think it makes you hate. I don't know. I've only seen one episode, so I don't know my full feelings on it.
Too early to. Too early.
I mean, it kind of opens your eyes to everything that was happening with him, right? In between the lines and what we didn't see in his recovery coming back and everything like that. It's quite interesting. It really is, him basically telling the doctors, like, I'm going to do this. I don't know. John, dude, you probably took Oregon by 40 against the Badgers too. And guess what? It ended up as a 3-point game. So, I mean, come on. We just got to open up the bottle a little early before Christmas. That's what we're doing over here.
Wait, Jets. That's like saying the Patriots will win another game this year. Probably not.
See, John.
But no, I mean, I give you credit, Trajan. You're going out on a limb there. I like it. I
lost last week. I got to get frisky with it. I got to make some crazy picks.
I respect it to the fullest. But I can't go. I'm going the opposite. We're coming to the fork in the road. I'm going left. You're going right. It's okay. I can't take the Jets. I've taken them so many times this year, and I thought they would win. And they just no. I think the Rams put up too many points here. It's this Jets. I kind of hope they don't win another game. It would just be kind of funny at this point. But
I had to take my bold pick. There's my bold pick.
I like it though. I like it.
Next, we got a good one. We got a good one here. Eagles, Commanders. That should be a very good game right there. Where is it?
In Landover, Maryland, not DC. That's another. They should be the Maryland Commanders.
Give me another ballsy one. Give me the Commanders. Give me the Commanders to win that game.
I would not be shocked at all. I because I'm an Eagles fan. I mean, if the Eagles were playing the Chiefs and the Eagles were 6-6, I would take the Chiefs. But because the Eagles are a good team, I can't pick against them out of respect there, I guess, whatever you want to say. But this is a trap game to me. And I don't know if a trap game that phrase gets overused, but like usually we split with Washington. That's usually like just one of those things. And obviously Washington being better, they kind of, this is a really big game for them to just kind of keep pace and everything in the playoffs. So wouldn't be surprised at all. I think you could put money on Washington. I don't think that's a dumb risk to take.
All right. I like that one. There. John says Eagles, and he says by 5. He's giving them 5 in this one. So I guess so on that one. Giants, Falcons. This could be a barn burner. Michael Penix making his first start there. If you had to think of anything Michael Penix loved to do at Washington, it was throw that baby deep. So we could see a lot of action deep down the field. The Giants are just a disaster. Right now, the spread is at 9. Michael Penix starting his first game, and they're favoring the Falcons by 9. I like the Falcons. Give me the Falcons. I like Michael Penix to come out and just light the world on fire in his first start. Like, that'd be wild. So give me the Falcons to win that one. I
think this is one of those games. I think he'll throw at least one pick. I just have that feeling. But I'm with you too. I think the Giants. I'm like a closet Drew Lock fan. Like I want him to do well. It just doesn't seem to work. I don't even know if he's playing this week. Like that team week to week, I have no idea what's going on. I mean, they had Tim Boyle in there last week, I think, at one point against the Ravens. So I don't know. But yeah, the mess that is the Giants is the Falcons are a mess, but not as big of a mess. So give me the Falcons.
All right. I like that one there. Next up, we have the Cardinals and the Panthers. All right. All right, this could be a good one here. I'm going to take the Cardinals to win that one.
Me too. I thought the Panthers would beat Dallas last week. I picked them to beat Dallas. They couldn't do it. Now I think they're better, right? They're playing better, but they're still not
I think this is a good game. I think it's a good game. The Panthers keep it close there. I just don't think it's an ugly one.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it should be a decent game. Like, I don't know. It has, it could be interesting, like you said. It could, but yeah, give me the Cardinals too. I think they'll find a way.
John said Falcons game wasn't even going to be close, 33-13. So there we go. We have John's bet on that one, 33-13.
Wow.
All right. Like when Ohio State plays Oregon, 33-13. But John, you're not going to like that score very much. You're not going to like it. He said Cards, but be closer than the people think. 2-point difference. All right. I could, I think it's going to be a close game. I do. I think the Panthers, they're playing inspired football, right? And it's good to see. It's good to see Bryce Young doing good things. Like, I don't hate that guy like that. He seems like the nicest dude in the world. So, I mean, I can't hate on him. He's doing things that people didn't think he'd get a shot to do this year after they benched him for the first time. And it took Andy Dalton getting hurt in a car accident for him to get his job back. So, I mean, that's kind of where that whole situation was at. Browns and Bengals. Bengals still in the playoff picture. They're still in the playoff picture. I like the Bengals to get the win against the Browns. I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah. What, I think the Browns now bench Winston. I saw that somewhere. Is that?
Yeah. I like Jameis Winston. He keeps it fun. Like, he just whips that baby around. Like,
I mean, he's like Carson Wentz, right? It's like he doesn't win you games, but he kind of loses you. Like, it's like he has the ability to win games if he didn't turn the ball over 50,000 times. Like, it's just they both have a cannon. Like, it's so crazy how they can't. Wow, they got that onside kick.
I know. I'm like, this game, if there was 3 minutes left, this game could get really spicy really fast. But there's only some minutes. Like, unless if they get a miracle shot right here and another onside kick recovery, like,
Yeah, and they're gonna need it, like, that shot soon. Like,
I'm thinking first play. There's a minute 24.
Right.
You got to get a shot down the field there.
Yeah. Oh, he's getting flushed out.
All right, let's work her through. Let's work her through this one. Yeah, Titans and Colts. What do we got?
You said Bears and Colts? Sorry.
Titans and Colts. Titans and Colts.
Give me the Colts. They're trying to stay alive in the playoff picture too. Titans are a hot mess. They really, really are. And yeah, I like watching Richardson play for what it's worth, but I don't know. You talk about just 2 steps forward, 5 back with him. I don't know what you get with him. But
yeah, no, I agree. I can't take any more crazy picks for the day. Give me the Colts to win that one there against the Titans. I'll have to agree on that one. Next up, we got Lions Bears. The Bears basically just, if this was, a couple weeks ago, we thought the Bears would have had a shot. Now it's like this team is defeated. You can see it. Caleb Williams is on. He's getting broken. I mean, I don't want to feel bad for the guy at all, but he's getting broken at this point here. DJ Moore is like already ready for vacation. He doesn't care anymore. This whole team is out. So, yeah, I'm going to take the Lions. The Lions are broken, but they aren't, the Bears aren't injured as much, but they're just broken. The Lions are injured and broken at this point. So give me the Lions to win that one.
Yeah. I think, like you said, if I'm the Bears, I just sit Caleb Williams the rest of the year. What do you, what's the point at this point? He's going to get more banged up. Probably his confidence will probably take more of a hit if it already hasn't. Like, just give it up for this year. You're winning a couple more games, I really don't think is going to make a difference in the psyche of that team. So yeah, give me the Lions as well. Maybe the Bears find a way to keep it close for halftime, but I think the Lions pull away too.
What did John say there?
Lions
with the 19th injury still put up 28 points. Give me the Lions by 10. All right. I agree with you. I could see that one happening. I really could. So next up, we have the Vikings and Seahawks. This could be, the Seahawks are now battling for the playoff lives out there. This game is going to be at Lumen Field, so it's going to be out in Seattle for that one. This could be a good one. This really could. And you were talking about trap games before. The Packers are looming for the Vikings. Could it be a trap game for the Vikings here?
It is. It is a trap game.
Oh,
I'm going Seattle, and Kenneth Walker's back after missing 2 games, so they're going to lean on him. They're going to do enough out there with the 12, back-to-back weeks out there. So, you hope to get one of those. You kind of get run off the field by the Packers. You find a way to beat the Vikings. I think this they got to get this one. Like, they got to have this is a win where you can say, okay, we can kind of beat anybody, right?
Yeah.
You don't expect them to, but for the psyche of that team, okay, let's get a win against a team that's up there as far as the seeding is concerned. So
yeah, I would agree with you there, and so does John. I'm with the Seahawks. John's with the Seahawks. Seahawks, they learned from that Green Bay game. Trap. 100% agree with you there. I like the Seahawks too in that one. Next up, we have the Patriots and the Bills. Bills are favored by 14 in that one, and I think it's probably going to be around that margin there. Give me the Bills to win that one.
Yeah, Bills. 14's a lot, but yeah, I mean, give me the Bills too.
All right, there. Next up, we have this game is going to be absolutely a just slugfest. We have the Jags and the Raiders. This could be a slugfest if we're talking about slugfest. That's tough. Where is the game?
Vegas.
Is it in Vegas? Give me Vegas. Give me Vegas. Give me the Raiders to pull off that magical 3rd win of the season there.
Yeah, I mean, you're trying out Mac Jones. Not that the Raiders have much better on the other side. You said Bills by 24. I mean, at least you're an honest Patriots fan. Like, but no, yeah, give me the Raiders played the Chiefs really tough on. I mean, I know it was Black Friday, is damn near a month ago, I guess at this point, but I think the Raiders they have heart. I don't think the Jags have any heart left. I think they're just on life support. They want this season to end. So just for that, and it's Mac Jones. Whatever.
Yeah, if it was Trevor Lawrence, it'd be a different conversation we're having right now. But yeah, so we both got the Raiders in that one there. Next up, we got Jags with mac and cheese right there. Vegas going to not even show up to get that top pick. It's a battle to see who gets the top pick in the draft at this point here.
Maybe
you really
tank?
want
Yeah, maybe you want to lose this. Like, maybe both teams are going to try and lose. Maybe.
They could tank it for it. They could tank it to see what they get there. No Max Crosby. John's taking the Jags. All right. We see you. We Jags could win it. I'm not saying they can't. This is going to be a dumpster fire of a game. All right. Next up, we have the San Francisco 49ers and the Miami Dolphins. Kittle's playing. Brock's playing. Juwan Jennings will be there. Debo's playing. Give me the 49ers. Give me the 49ers to win that game against the Dolphins. No Waddle. Waddle's out. And like we mentioned earlier, I don't know what Tyreek Hill is. I don't. Like, we're not seeing Tyreek Hill what we thought Tyreek Hill was. I don't think that offense is as explosive as it was. I don't think their defense is as good as it was. Yeah, I'm going to take the 49ers to win that one.
When we started talking about it, I was definitely going Dolphins, and now the more, like, I'm reading they're both questionable, and Tyreek Hill's wrist is, like, pretty severely messed up. So I don't love that for a wide receiver, for his wrist to be messed up. So yeah, give me the 49ers too. I mean, the Dolphins are just I think they peaked already. They're going to have to fix a lot to get back to where they were.
100% agree. I agree with you. The Dolphins are not what they were. Not what they were whatsoever. Johnny likes the Niners by 6. So, yeah, I could see that right around that mark there. Next up, we have the Sunday night game, the Buccaneers and the Cowboys. Jerry still thinks the playoffs are in sight for the Cowboys right now, so they're coming out feisty in that one. The Buccaneers, I don't hate the Buccaneers. I think now that Mike Evans is back, this team is starting to rattle off, play a little bit better. They had that big win against the Chargers last time out there. I like the Bucs. Give me the Bucs to win that one. It's at AT&T Stadium, though.
This one feels like this will be a game that Cowboys win just because it's like makes no sense. Like it's. I think the Bucs do win, but like this one kind of feels weird to me. Like it's like, okay, watch Dallas win just to be in the headlines, just for that much longer before you put a nail in them. Like,
John says not even close. That's what he's telling you right now. 13 plus on that one. So last but not least, we have the interesting one. Monday night, Packers, Saints. Packers favored by 14.5 in that game. Wowza. That is a wowza statement right there. It's in Lambeau for that one. I'll be honest with you. The way that the Packers, actually Dallas at home sucks worse than on the road. So if we would have actually said Dallas was on the road against the Bucs, I would have probably taken Dallas because they actually have a pretty good road record. They suck at home. So Packers, Saints, I'd actually be more surprised if they don't cover the spread in this one. I would actually be more upset if they don't cover the spread in this one because I believe Spencer Rattler is starting for the Saints in this one. So if the Packers, I'm going to be an upset man if I have to come back and talk about this and they didn't cover that spread. Give me the Packers. They cover the spread in this one.
I think it's not even close. I mean, even if it was in New Orleans, I would be like, okay, maybe there's a chance that it's a relatively competitive game. Yeah. This is like, there's no shot. Like, they're not coming up the Lamb. I mean, this time of year, not, end of December, like, no way. So, and Spencer Rattler is Spencer Rattler. So it's, I mean, if that's funny that you'll be upset if they don't cover. Like, that's how bad this game should be. Like,
that's how bad it should be. And, like we were talking about before, you try to find those little things in games. This should be a game where you just set the narrative off the bat and you just take care of your business against a Saints team who you don't believe should be. Indiana's making it spicy. They're making it spicy right now. Like this, if they get one more onside kick and a Hail Mary, like, we could be talking about the greatest comeback we've ever talked about ever. So, I mean, like, this is going to happen. It's still a shot, 25 seconds. But, I mean, I don't want to say I'm going to be super upset, but, like, just like you were at the Panthers, you're like, you won the game. You believe you should have won that game, and that's the truth. But you're like, did you leave something out there? Did you leave a taste, right? Something that should have went better this way, that way. You should have been able to beat this team a little bit more handily. So I guess that'd be the only way I'm coming back like that. John says 27-17 final. I could see it like that, but that doesn't hurt my feelings that bad, right? If it's a 3-point game, if we win that one like we did against the Bears, like, I'm coming back a little bit hot and heavy, right? So, I mean, that's about all we got. The 2-point conversion fails. It's over. We tried heavily in this one. But Aaron, anything else we got to wrap us up here?
Not particular. I mean, I'm sure you saw the Kyle Tucker news that was surprising though. That was like not where I thought he would land, at least.
Yeah, no. Oh, John just said 27-17 final. We must be way behind in this.
Oh game. Yeah, my freaking thing got mine's messed up right now, so
I'm probably behind too. Maybe they already kicked the onside kick. I don't know what John's talking about. He's all over the place over there. But I saw that. The Astros, I don't even know what they're gonna have back. Bregman's gone, Kyle Tucker's gone. They have Altuve back. They just got Christian Walker. They just signed him, but outside you're paying.
And he's older. Like you're taking a 33, 30. I think he's 33, 34. And they put.
Well, you're paying him and Jose Abreu yet next season. So you're paying for both them guys yet. So the Astros they build the talent, but the question is, can they keep it around? Oh goodness. That kicker for Indiana, before we sign off here, that kicker for Indiana, I want him on whatever team I have. I want him. Those 2 onside kicks that he just booted out there, those were like money. Like they had the perfect bounce to get it for your, like they were all, oh my goodness, that was awesome.
That's a skill. That really is a skill.
It is. Like both them onside kicks had that perfect bounce after 10 yards to give your guys a shot to go and grab it. Like that is something that you can't teach. You just have there. So Aaron, I mean, anything else we got wrap us up here?
Do you hear any rumblings about the Brewers making any, the baseball, I mean, it's really been the heavy hitter teams. It sucks. I wish there was other teams. I mean, at least the Astros aren't like as heavy hitter, but like it's Yankees, Dodgers, Mets making all the moves. I mean, Cubs with the big one with Tucker, but
Yeah, no, and John says here before we wrap up, we'll wrap up right after this. But thoughts on Bill B? He's been cooking in the portal. It's what we kind of expected. Once guys kind of hear the Bill Belichick as a college coach now, he's an NFL guy. He's won how many Super Bowls? Like, why wouldn't you want to go play for that guy? He knows.
I will say this though. I will say I don't know how many 18-year-olds are prepared to play for an a-hole like Belichick.
I thought about it too, and I was like, I agree, but Nick Saban was not the nicest dude in the world on the football field.
No, but I got it. I've watched clips of maybe it was because at the end, maybe he'll tone it down a little because when he was with the Patriots with Brady, I was watching some of those clips where they were in the film room, and this guy was like ruin your day type of.
Yeah.
Yes. And I know Saban was too, but I still think Saban was a little more humane. Like, I don't think Bill Belichick actually has a heart. He's one of those people that he's like an NPC. He just exists and doesn't care about anybody's feelings. Like winning above any feelings ever. Like
he's gonna have a guy for that. He's gonna have a guy.
He's gonna have to.
He'll have a guy to deal with feelings. He's just gonna coach football like he does, and I would want to go play for Bill Belichick because if I am a 3-star recruit who wants to get ready to go for the NFL, look at what he did for how many guys who were no names coming in and they ended up looking like stars going out. Who's Chris Hogan? To any other NFL team, who's Chris Hogan?
Even Edelman. Edelman was a quarterback.
Julian Edelman. Who is he to anybody else? But to him, he was a star, right? It's all them guys. And those are the guys that he's going to be able to attract to North Carolina. North Carolina looks like they're going to back him there and give him some money to spend. I love it. I love it there. John says, remember the Titans there. You don't want to play offense, come over to the defense. Yeah, I agree there. I agree. He knows how to coach him up, right? And that's the thing. You're not expecting him. Everybody's like, well, you can't imagine Bill Belichick going and sit on the couch of a 18-year-old kid's house and recruiting all these guys. He's not going to. He's going to recruit 10 guys. Those are the guys he's going to go and see. The 5 stars, the big-time quarterback commits, everything like that. He's going to go and see those guys. Everybody else, he's going to be like, do you want to join the party or not? Like, do you want to come here or not? He's going to send his guys out there to go and recruit them. Halftime, it's your offensive coordinator or defensive coordinator anyways. It's not always your head coach. Your head coach is going to go sit on the couches of about 10 guys, and that's it. That's it at the end of the day. He's going to have a guy for those. 100% great. John says he's going to have a guy for those feelings. Yes, he will. He's going to have a guy to deal with the crap. He's not going to deal with the crap. He's going to have a guy to deal with the crap. His Bill Belichick number 2. Outside of that, he's going to be a football coach. And I like it. I like the move for North Carolina. I think it's going to bring a lot of attention to him. And I think it's going to bring a lot of players' attention to North Carolina. And possibly, with the way the transfer portal is, you could turn around that program in a year. And we could be talking about North Carolina in the ACC championship next year. We could be talking about North Carolina in the college football playoff next year. We definitely could there. So, what did you say there? If Penn State loses, you got to shave the beard.
Why does Trajan have to do something if Penn State loses? That's like,
John, I don't care about Penn State, dog. I don't care about Penn State, right? But okay, I'm probably gonna get forced to shave the beard anyways at some point. The wife will be like, "Shave that thing off. I'm done with it. Shave it off," right? So it's probably gonna get shaven off anyways. But I'll take your deal. I'll take it. If Penn State loses, I'll shave the beard off. What do you want me to do? Like, I'm not shaving it all the way down. I'm telling you that much. I'm not shaving it bare bone because I will look like I'm 12. All right. I will look like I'm 12. So I'm not shaving it all the way off, John. What do you want me to do? Like handlebar mustache kind of thing? Like, make this deal spicy. Make it spicy. Me shaving it down is nothing.
I got to look at like the playoff bracket again here because here, let's see. So Penn State, Boise State. Okay, so they would play. Dang, they're not going to meet Ohio State unless it would be in the national championship. I was going to say, I'm not even saying if Penn State wins the national. Like if they beat Ohio State in the college football playoff, I would do so. I can't shave my head. I'm too self-conscious for that. Like,
yeah, I couldn't shave my head either. I got receding hairline over here. If I shave my
head, too, man. It's
90 years old.
Happening.
I'm 90 years old. John, what am I doing? You're telling me, hell yeah, the people's champ over here. What am I doing? What am I doing? You want handlebar mustache? Like, what do you want? Penn State loses. What do I got to do? That's what we need to know. We need to know what the betting line is. And then I got to cheer for Penn State.
I was going to say, like, I would dye my hair blue. I can't do any of that crazy stuff, though. I can't. Like, that's not me. That's too
dye
far.
It blue if they go to the national championship. Like, that's
oh, my God.
Dye that baby blue.
That would really bother me to the fullest.
Dye it green and yellow and quack, dress up as a duck.
What about red and blue for SMU? Like, just it's red, blue, just insane.
Are you talking to me right now? Like, you told me I had to shave before. Now you're telling me I have to dye my hair right now. What are you telling me, John? Like, we're shaving a beard here. Are we going handlebar mustache? Are we going just shave? What are we doing here?
How about John dyes his hair green if Oregon wins the whole thing? And you got to take pictures of it. You can't just say I did it.
I feel like that's more of a punishment. I feel like that. What's the betting line, John? Give me a betting line. Like, what are we going for here? Just give us the LOL in the chat there. Just giving us the LOL. I don't even know what I'm doing. Like, I got to know coming back Sunday here on the show, John. Am I having a handlebar mustache or am I shaving the beard? Like, what am I doing?
All right. If Wisconsin loses to, who was it? Detroit Mercy?
Detroit Mercy?
Yeah. You gotta do something crazy then.
He said he's shaved. He's got a shaved head already. He's bald anyways.
How about you dye your eyebrows green? If Oregon
I'll dye the beard. John's gonna dye the beard. If Oregon goes all the way, he'll dye the beard for us.
I like that.
What am I gonna do? I don't have nothing to like. I don't have a team in here. Like, what are we coming at me for here?
Okay, no, I mean, if Wisconsin should cover the spread too. I was gonna say, okay, the Packers spread, right? You're like
Packers spread. The Packers spread. All right. If the Packers do not cover the spread, I'll come back with a handlebar mustache.
No beard or just that too?
Just dirty handlebar mustache. That's all I'm going to go with there.
All right, come on.
John, is that fair enough for you? Because I have nothing riding on the Penn State game. Is that fair enough for you? Packers do not cover the spread. I come back with a handlebar mustache. I feel like that's fair. I feel like that's fair. 14.5. I'm going on a limb here. Green and yellow stripes for a week. I don't know if I can do that. Come on.
Christmas week, too.
Christmas week. Can I at least go red and green so I match, like get the Christmas festivity colors? I can't go. I can't go that next. Okay, the Pete Holmes stash. What is the Pete Holmes stash?
Pete Holmes stash. Let's see what that is.
Now I'm intrigued. Let's see here. I'm seeing a guy named Pete Holmes, but I'm not seeing a stash. John, I don't know what the Pete Holmes stash looks like. I'm trying to look it up here, and I'm not seeing nothing.
Is it like right underneath his nose, and that's it? Like it's like a bow tie looking? Like,
oh no, we are not rolling with that. I will give you a handlebar mustache. That is about as dirty as we can get.
Before we get off here, see, this is the only picture I can think that makes it's like, yeah, that's about it. It's like a patch. That's all we're working with.
A patch. Like a John Holmes. That makes way more sense. John Holmes. Oh man. Hold on. Let me see if I can pull this one up here. Let me see if I can pull it up.
Oh, that's close. It don't look horrible.
Nah, don't look horrible there.
It looks like a mustache. All right.
I'm kind of upset that the one picture I pulled up of him was his obituary one, but rough. Didn't mean to do that there. All right. We'll settle on a handlebar mustache if the Packers do not cover the spread. I don't know if I got enough to make the stash work like John Holmes. Like that is a pretty thick stash right there.
If either Wisconsin basketball or the Packers lose, I think you got to do the eyebrow green and red eyebrows.
If both lose,
no, just one.
Oh, come on now.
They both should easily.
I can't do it. I got Christmas pictures coming up next week. I can't be all green and yellow eyebrows right there. All right, I can't
green
be
red.
full on.
Green and red.
I can't be full on. Green and red.
Christmas.
That'll be ballsy. How about this? Handlebar mustache, whipped cream to the face. If
spray paint.
We're not doing spray paint, John. We're not spray painting my face over here. Handlebar mustache, whipped cream to the face. I'll do the handlebar mustache if I'm not shaving one, John. Jeez Louise, this guy over here.
Oh my God. That's crazy.
All right, we'll come to a conclusion on this. Either we'll go whipped cream to the face if one of them loses. Whipped cream to the face live on the show. If it's not, we'll go. If the Packers do not cover the spread, we'll go a handlebar mustache. There we go. We got it all solved. Live on air, whipped cream to the face if one of those teams loses. If the Packers do not cover the spread, handlebar mustache. Are we all in agreement? Can that work?
Because I don't want you to be alone. If Penn State loses, I'll do whipped cream. I'll do the pie to the
There we go. We'll do a double. We'll do a double duty that night there. We'll do.
Hopefully, we're not talking about any of that. So
yeah, I'm hoping not. I'm really hoping not on there. Got to keep it a clean show here. Got to keep it a clean show. So with that, Aaron, let's get the heck out of here. We have a heck of a show tonight here. Packers, Saints coming up on Monday. Sunday here on the show, we will preview that game coming up there on Monday night. Didn't want to really talk about it tonight here because we got Sunday. We'll preview that game there. We'll be talking Badgers and Detroit Mercy. Hopefully, for my sake, talking about a win there, so I don't have to do the whipped cream to the face there. We got an NFL weekend ahead of us. Great NFL weekend there. We got lots of games on Saturday, college football playoff and NFL. It's like you turn on one game, you can flip back and forth. It's going to be unreal. We got lots of college basketball coming up this weekend. Should be a heck of a week there. So with that, for Aaron and myself, this has been Wisconsin Sports on the Go with Trage. Thank you all for tuning in. We'll catch you guys back here on Sunday. But until then,